Bitcoin is on a roll as we enter day number 3 of virtual blockchain week, and we've got an incredible roster of speakers to bring you their latest thoughts on the markets, the world, and what happens next. Roger Ver and CZ will be our opening and our closing keynotes, and in between there is so much value you're not going to want to miss a single beat. So welcome to day 3 of the world's most amazing virtual blockchain event, Virtual Blockchain Week. And here we are again. It is day number 3 of Virtual Blockchain Week. I'm Joel Comm of the Bad Crypto Podcast, and that guy right there, that would be my co-host, Mr. Travis Wright.
Yes. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Day 3.
So
you said
excited.
on de trois? You said trois?
On de trois, oui. Or ein, zwei, drei. Or uno, dos,
Three.
tres.
Yeah. Adin, dva, tri, because we all Russian bots here. This is Welcome to Russian Bot Podcast. We will talk about the Bitcoin today and how to please Putin.
It's a happy day actually for Bitcoin, and we'll go to CoinGecko in just a moment. And actually, we've got the founder of CoinGecko that's going to be joining us here in a couple minutes. But Bitcoin is on a run, Mr. Travis Wright, and there you could feel it in the air. The halving vibe is happening.
Wait, have you been outside?
I have
Are
been
you
outside.
Are you going against sanctions out again? Going outside?
I
Breathing in air?
I need my fresh air every day, my friend.
Well, Mother Russia does not appreciate you going against sanction.
Everybody, please share that this broadcast is live from wherever you're watching, whether on YouTube or Facebook, or Twitter, Periscope, DLive TV, our friends at Theta.tv, wherever the stream is coming to you. Please share and let others know that you are live. Actually, I'm kicking off the Theta stream right now. Boom, there it is. It's live now. And we want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Mr. Travis Wright. Would you like to tell our viewers about it while I bring up their screen?
That sounds like a great idea. Let me open up that. I did not have our show notes open yet. I got all of our daily images open, but not that. Here we go. Show
You're
notes.
unpreparified.
And I'm still glowing from the VIP networking thing. It was just so much fun. We had so many people in there in all these different breakout rooms. It was really good.
Yeah.
Title sponsor, CryptoMaticATM. Big thanks to them. Title sponsor, CryptoMaticATM. Now you can start your own business earning passive income by placing your own crypto to cash and cash to crypto German-built ATM for public use. Like you can just place this bad boy at you can place it at grocery stores, maybe medical dispensaries, all kinds of different cool places you could place these things. And as crypto is quickly becoming part of the everyday world life, it is creating a demand for an easy solution to exchange between those cryptos and cash. And that's what you can do. And you can actually win a CryptoMatic ATM, right, Mr. Joe Com? How's this work?
Absolutely. Well, we're two of them are being given away this week. The first one will happen tonight after CZ's keynote. We'll be joined by Joff Paradise of CryptoMaticATM to draw the first winner. In order to be eligible to win, you have to register for Virtual Blockchain Week. If you're watching this stream elsewhere, make sure you go to virtualblockchainweek.com, click the register free button here. It'll go zoop, take you where you need to go. Click right here, enter to win to register, and make sure you drop your Ethereum wallet address in there as well so that you can be eligible. Thanks to CryptoMatic for making this conference possible.
And we're going to be having a fireside chat with CZ, I believe.
We're gonna, maybe he'll feel the heat a little bit. I don't know. But Mr. Travis Wright, we have our first guest waiting here in the wings, and I want to actually bring up this website before I bring him in because they're a partner with us. They're our favorite go-to site for checking out the crypto markets. It's coingecko.com. Actually, let me refresh the page. Bitcoin is currently $8,716. And with that said, I want to bring in the co-founder of CoinGecko, Mr. Bobby Ong. Bobby, come on into the Zoom. We can't wait to
26% this week, Bitcoin, baby.
Yeah. Welcome, Bobby. How are you?
Hey, yeah.
Good to see you, friend. Look at all the green here today. This has got to make, CoinGecko fans happy.
Yeah, it's been a terrific day. I mean, price has been going up. It's like a rocket ship.
Yeah, what do you think it's all having? Do you think it's Virtual Blockchain Week? Is it some other factor?
Yeah, virtual halving. The virtual blockchain week definitely plays a role, I suppose. Definitely the halving, I suppose. It's less than 12 days ago. I'm really excited. Are you guys excited? As excited as I am?
Very much so. Yeah, like let's bring it.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons why we wanted to do Virtual Blockchain Week really before before the halving, because like here's this buildup that's happening, and like it seems like it might be a really good time for the cryptos, and who knows? So this is an interesting time. Maybe tell us a little bit what are some of the things that you're seeing, and because for one, Bobby, thank you so much for being part of this. Thanks for coming on. I think your reports, your quarterly reports are amazing. The information that you put out is very, very valuable. You want to maybe talk about that or talk about some of the things that you got going on over there at CoinGecko?
Yeah, it's been a very exciting time for us. We are now the largest independent crypto data aggregator. We have one of the most comprehensive database. We track over 7,000 tokens, plugged into over 400 exchanges. Things have been very good for us in the past couple of months. It's very exciting as we run up towards the halving, and the team has been really hard at work trying to improve the user experience on CoinGecko. And then we've been publishing quite a lot of things recently. So like one of the things was that we have this annual report, which quarterly report actually, which we've been publishing for the past couple of years or so. This is the 11th such report, and the latest one that we published in Q1 has been really interesting. We also published a book recently. It's called How to DeFi, which is basically a 200-page book on decentralized finance. The team has been really hard at work. There's been more content, more interesting research coming up on the CoinGecko team.
Yeah, it is my go-to site all the time. I stopped using CoinMarketCap probably about, really after we interviewed you on the podcast and discovered all the tools you had and the reports you put out, I'm like, this is just, there's more information here. So I'm wondering, what are your thoughts on Binance acquiring CoinMarketCap? And is there a conflict of interest for this company that has access to the most data to be managing this site?
Yeah, definitely agree with the point of view. I think it's going to be hard for CoinMarketCap to stay independent. They say they're going to be independent. Binance says it's going to stay transparent and neutral, but it's really hard trying to do that. You just need a third-party provider to kind of keep things equal between all the exchanges, with all the coins, and And Binance has their own point of view of what should and should not be done, and sometimes most of the time we agree with them, which is fine. But there are some times when we don't agree with people, don't agree with what Binance is doing, and that's not good for the community. And it almost feels that Binance is growing so big and so large in so many areas that there's a huge centralization risk in the industry, and we just need someone like a third party independent provider. So yeah, I definitely agree with that point of view that it's going to be hard. And definitely there's a conflict of interest, and we just need to have like an independent site like CoinGecko for the betterment of the community.
Is there anything, because we're going to talk to him later tonight, is there anything that from an industry perspective that you think would be crucial for us to ask CZ about CoinMarketCap?
Nothing much.
I mean, I guess to put him to the fire.
What would you ask him, Bobby?
Like, maybe like, why don't they disclose the amount that was purchased for? Why keep it hush hush? Like, I mean, it was announced there was 400 million, but it was never publicly confirmed. Like, I mean, if it's an amount, why don't you just confirm it?
Right. Well, so here's my question for you then. When you're seeing CMC get acquired for maybe 400 million, you're the next biggest, site for this type of data. You've got to be going, oh, snap.
He's going.
So would you sell to an exchange? Because if there's questions about, the integrity of the site because, a big exchange owns it, how would you feel about selling your site?
Yeah. So we don't have any plans to sell at this point in time. I think the industry is just really at its infancy at this point in time. I mean, we can definitely say that 7,000 tokens at this point in time compared to what it was when we started 6 years ago back in 2014 when we only had like 20 tokens or so. It's definitely a 50x improvement from what it was, and the industry, we can argue that it's a mature industry. But from my point of view, I think this crypto industry is just really at its early stage. If you think about a future where anything and everything that can be tokenized will be tokenized, that we are nowhere near its potential. Imagine a future where Bobby has his own token, Joel has his own token, Travis has his own token, Bitcoin has his own token and growing every day further. And it's become really easy to set up its own token with all this utility and things. Everyone will have his own token. We have their own token. We're nowhere near their potential. And I think the industry will be super early at this stage. And the real mainstream players haven't really come into the stage yet. So I think selling out at this stage is really early, and we have no intention to do so because the aim is to just grow and capture as much information as we can in the industry. And what we see is that if we look into the industry from when we started back in a few years ago, there was no DeFi back then. There was no exchange token. There wasn't a lot of things. And who knows what the future will hold. And we want to track all this information. And when the time is right, I don't know, a few years from now, the big players will come in and then we will probably sell it to the right guys then.
You did mention, Badcoin being listed. We actually do have a currency, and we'll tell you guys more about it at a little later date. But Bobby, we got to let you go. Thanks for coming in. We really appreciate, the data that you put out there, and you are our go-to reference.
You're doing great work, brother. Appreciate what you're doing.
CoinGecko.com. Different kind of lizard, not the one that'll save you money on your auto insurance.
You're not going to save 15% on your cryptos by going to CoinGecko.
You are not going to save on your auto insurance. Travis, while I prepare to bring our next guests in, would you like to go ahead and introduce who they are? And I'm going to get things aligned here.
For sure. Now, back in February, I think Joel and I, we went to our last event together, and it was NFT NYC. I guess NYC has their own domain name. That's pretty handy. Is there a .Denver, Joel?
I don't think so.
Is there a .Kansas City? I don't know. I think that's cityist. They need to make sure that we have other cities handled. But what we're going to do here at this one, we got some really great folks here. We have we have Alex Atala, who is the co-founder of OpenSea, which is the largest marketplace for non-fungible tokens. We also have with us Jody Rich, who is, I believe, the CEO of People Browser and NFT.cred, which is the platform for creating and sharing NFTs. And we also have Vandana Taksali.
That's right.
I think I got that close. and she's an art agent and intellectual property and business lawyer for artists, creatives, and entrepreneurs at Int Counsel Law Firm. So we got ourselves a nice little panel here of amazing minds.
It's a trio, and I know that you guys have a lot to say in a short period of time, so we're going to turn it over to you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. So we're going to talk about non-fungible tokens, and I think lots of people don't even know what a non-fungible token is. It's a way of registering your digital assets on the blockchain. And what that really means, we're going to hear from Vandana about art. We're going to hear from megastar Alex about his incredible business OpenSea, where you can register and sell and do amazing things with your NFTs. And I'm going to tell you about one of our projects. My short story is I was born in New York, went to school in Australia. That's why I talk like this. And I run an event with Cameron Bale called NFT NYC every year, where we bring the NFT industry together. We own a platform that creates social networks, and we've recently done a deep integration with Ethereum so we can tokenize people's content. And the content that we're most excited about tokenizing is actually virtual events. And what most of you probably don't realize is that every 12 seconds, there is a new public Zoom. And we are now tokenizing those Zooms. We're ranking them, we're scoring them, we're putting them into a discovery engine. And if you're the owner of the event, you're actually able to tokenize all the content, send out smart invitations, and allow your attendees to give each other tokens so that you create audience engagement. And my friend Joel is showing a landing page that we're previewing. That's my quick story. And at the end, I'll talk a little bit about something that Tim Draper mentioned on Monday, which is how do you address Bitcoin wallets with short addresses? So Alex, do you want to jump in and maybe tell us what's the coolest thing you've seen on OpenSea? What's the coolest NFTs you've seen on OpenSea? And maybe how does COVID-19 affect what's going on with OpenSea?
Thanks, Jody. First, just want to say thanks for inviting me to this panel. I definitely think there's so many areas in Zoom where I just kind of get fidgety and I want to do something. And it's like a perfect platform for adding more content and tokenizing content. More generally, content is king, even and especially when it comes to NFTs. So during COVID-19, we're seeing a lot more artistic content. And I think it could be just correlation, but we're seeing people want to become stay-at-home entrepreneurs or do more things where they can just take art and take work that they've done for other projects that never went anywhere and develop it a little more and become known for their creativity. So well, we see this pattern where someone goes on, creates an anonymous Twitter account for their art. And then they go to OpenSea and they create a storefront where they upload their art and tokenize each digital piece as an NFT. It can be animated, it can be a video, it can even be a 3D model. And then our users, some of them have bots that just constantly scrape OpenSea for new content. And when they see new items go on sale, they look to see what the market looks like, how other people are viewing this artist, and then they buy these pieces. And sometimes with the intention of making money and selling them for a profit later, and sometimes just to build really interesting collections. So we've seen lots of people create curate account pages full of interesting art. That's just new from COVID. We're seeing the same kinds of game activity that we have normally, where games are tokenizing components or characters or land, like parcels inside of the game, and letting their own users own a stake of the game by owning these game pieces. And that's still the primary type of item that you see getting traded on OpenSea. Everything is based on Ethereum right now.
And what's cool about it is that all of these tokens are registered on the blockchain. So it's an open platform for people who don't really understand NFTs. This is an open platform. And And you really own your own data. You really own your own content. You own your own tools, don't you?
Oh, what do you mean own your own tools?
Well, you own the things in the game. You own the things that you're using.
Oh,
You own everything, and it's a way of registering your content. That's really the big thing. And I think, Vandana, that's what you're going to talk about: how artists can register. And you were telling me, I think yesterday on the phone, about how you're happy to own a piece of art during COVID-19 that might even be just a fraction of that art, as long as you can enjoy it at home. It's all good. Do you want to jump in?
Yeah, no, for sure. Exactly. I mean, I think what we're seeing, especially with what's happening with COVID-19 and a lot of galleries just not being opened and potentially losing a lot of money. I mean, some galleries sadly may not open at all. And so, we're seeing with Art Basel, one of the biggest art fairs, they had to have virtual viewing rooms. So I think what's really exciting for me is seeing that artists that are used to traditionally showing art in the physical realm can now show it in the digital realm with NFTs and with blockchain. And I think that's very exciting, because we're going to see new ways of doing creative projects that we haven't seen before. Stretches of the imagination where you can have collaborations between artists, as an NFT, and being able to monetize that and track who's owed what. You're going to see all these, interesting things. I mean, even now you're seeing galleries that are still going ahead with their openings, and they're having it virtually. And, people are coming to that. And I think it speaks to the fact that at the end of the day, is a physical piece all that different than a digital piece? I think what the differentiating factor is now is, before we never had a way to have that unique identifier and to protect that digital piece. And so, we valued the physical realm a little bit more, but I think that's now changing. And now with NFTs, we can, go ahead and protect digital art. And so I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that. It's going to be great for the artists, to monetize, and yeah.
So it gives artists the ability to actually track royalties as well, because as an artist, you can say, well, in my smart contract, I'd like to have a little piece of every resale of my art. And then for galleries, it means that galleries can become virtual galleries. And so people can enjoy them from anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really cool. Another project that we've been working on with OpenSea is about tokenizing identity and naming and domain names, and for people to own art and in-game items, they need to have a digital wallet. And so one of the things we talk about a lot is, how do you get normal people to understand what a digital wallet is and what you can put in it? And digital wallets need to be named. Digital wallets need to have short, interesting names. And so with Cred, we've done an integration so that you can take joel.cred and put it in your browser and you'll see information. Or if I want to send a token, an piece of art, or an OpenSea token, I can send it to joel.cred. And Joel has both a wallet that's addressed, and he also has a web page. And we're about to do a big OpenSea sale, aren't we, Alex, where people can actually go and get their identities.
Neat.
We're looking forward to that. So there's Joel. I think we've got like 1 minute left. Do you want to jump in, Alex? I think you look like you're going to say something.
Oh, no. I'm really looking forward to the Cred names, because they're novel. Like we've seen quite a few blockchain name projects, but none that actually have real DNS control. And real DNS control means that you can instantly host a website that every browser can access, not just crypto native browsers.
We're bullish on NFTs, gang. We're Travis and I are big fans, and we think having a name server that you'll be able to collect tokens at your address makes a lot of sense. So,
yeah, where's Travis.cred? What's up with that?
Yeah, where's Travis.cred?
You have done such a great job on this conference, Travis. We'll give you Travis.cred.
Okay, boom. I thought I was the stepson for a while.
You were, now you're not.
Jody, Alex, and Vandana, thank
That
you
was
so
great.
much for joining us today. We appreciate you, and thanks for sharing this stream with the Cred page on Facebook. We're grateful.
Appreciate
Great job with the conference, guys.
Thanks. Y'all take care.
See ya.
Bye
Bye.
now.
Bye.
That's good stuff right there, Mr. Travis Wright.
Definitely good stuff.
And
You know what else is good stuff? Zoomf.
Zoomf is good stuff.
Zoomf Analytics. So you can check it out. Zoomf.com, which is ZOOMPH. It's the smarter way to measure partnerships. It's a platform for social audience intelligence and sponsorship measurement and evaluation. And they are on our partner page. You can go to virtualblockchainweek.com, click on the blue sponsors button up at the top, and you can get to that, or you can hit social, which will take you to this page right here, which has an influencer leaderboard that showcases the people who are talking about the conference the most.
Use the hashtag VBW2020 when you are doing that. Also, for those of you that purchase the VIP ticket, half the proceeds of those tickets are going to Binance Charity. The website is binance.charity, and we have partnered with them for this effort right here, Crypto Against COVID. Join Binance Charity and help the world fight COVID-19. Even a small donation can help save lives. So whether you got a VIP ticket or not, look at this. They're almost to $4 million raised on this so far, Travis. All you guys got to do is click that donate button right there. It'll take you to this page, and it's so transparent. Mega transparent even.
Well, the background's white. I can't see through it.
Oh, I see. You're being funny. This is serious business.
This is serious business. It's been amazing. These guys, and we're going to have a chance to chat with CZ today about the donations and all the great things that they're doing. Look at that. 445 Bitcoin have been donated. And the amazing thing about that is as the price of Bitcoin goes up, the amount of money and the donations are increasing in value. So Bitcoin has gone up, in the last day, $1,000 or something?
$1,000. Yeah. So that's
one of them
really
good days, Mr. Joe Com.
Putting your money to work. Also want to give a shout out to our lead media partner at Cointelegraph.com. Cointelegraph is where we go for the news, and they are the leading independent digital media resource covering a wide range of news on blockchain tech, crypto assets, and emerging fintech trends. Each day, their team delivers the most accurate and up-to-date news from both the decentralized and the centralized worlds and everything in between. They're covering this conference and taking notes on what the speakers are saying, and then putting out articles here. So go check them out at Cointelegraph.com.
Is there a way, Mr. Joe Com, on that page to hit the search button and then type Virtual Blockchain Week to see if all of those Virtual Blockchain Week articles are in one place? Because that would be pretty handy.
There is a way. I click the search bar, I type, and
does it showcase them all?
Let me share the screen again. That was actually super smart thing that you said there. Yep, there's Caitlin Long spoke yesterday. There's an article about her. Elise Sam spoke yesterday. On Monday, we had Monty Greenspan and Tim Draper, and there's going to be more. There's going to be content all week long as their journalists cover what's happening here.
Copy that URL there, buddy. We'll send that over to the team so we can keep track of that. That's great.
Boom, just like that. All right, Mr. Travis Wright, let me see. There's so much going on here. I want to make sure that we have all our guests in line, all our ducks in a row. We do.
And also, I would like to say this to everyone. If you are watching this on Facebook or not, just go share this on Facebook. Create a watch party. Watch parties are a really good way to amplify the amount of folks who are going to be able to check this thing out. So if you go to facebook.com/Virtual Blockchain Week, that's our page. And if you click on that and click share the watch party or start a watch party to your group or to your page or wherever, that's just a really great way to amplify it. And it costs you nothing. And it just helps all of your friends become more aware of how the cryptos works.
Exactly.
We got some great speakers today.
You can see it right here on the screen, and right underneath the video that's live, watch together with friends or with a group, and then you just click start, and it works like a share, but you can put in whatever text that you want to put in to tell people. And Facebook really gives preference to watch parties over regular shares. I'm not sure why it's in their algorithm like that, but it is. And
we like to party. I think it's a party.
They like the watch parties. Yeah. All right, Mr. Travis Wright. I think we're ready to bring in. We've got so many guests tonight that are going to be delivering so much great content. And
We've
the gentleman,
it seems like we're just beginning the day, but it's like it seems like we've already had a day because we had this long VIP group. That was such a fun
we did
time.
have a
seeing all
day.
those-
I took a screenshot of that too. You can see here behind me. These are just some of the people that were in the networking room before we did
Yeah,
the
you can click the
breakout.
plus, or you can click the arrow and go to a whole other page of
Yeah.
this many people again. It was just
It was
crazy.
off the chain, and the chain was on the hook, but then the chain fell off the hook, so it was off all the things.
Wow. Speaking of chains and blocks, we should maybe get to actually it's not really a great transition to talk about ATMs, but ATMs have been a foundation of money for a long, long time. And our next speaker is going to come in and talk about CryptoMaticATM. He's our lead title sponsor and going to talk about ATMs past and present. Joff Paradise is an entrepreneur. He's an investor and educator, successful entrepreneur with over 40 years in business, and he's experienced lots of big wins and some devastating losses, but he has seen the light. He's been in crypto since 2010, and he is one of the leading proponents of ATMs. So much, in fact, he's got his own CryptoMaticATM business that he's going to be giving one away today.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Let's do it, Mr. Joff Paradise. It's all you, brother.
Hey guys, again, thank you so much for having us on the show again today, and we appreciate it very much. And how about that Bitcoin? 88 and climbing. I think our next stop or breakthrough will be 92, 93, and we're going to keep on going. Let's hope. Anyway, the CryptoMatic ATM machines are what I'd like to talk with you about today, and we're going to do a little share screen, and I'm going to bring this up real quick for you. And let's talk about the CryptoMatic ATMs. Now, we build through listening to you, and what we've done is we've listened to so many people. We're actually going to launch a new program on Friday that will blow your minds on sharing the very first ATM profits. I don't think that's ever been done in the history of ATM machines. I mean, what bank wants to share their fees that they make, right? And what was that, 2 billion, I think, last year. So let's see what we can do and how we can do that. But we listened to you and we wanted to bring that to you. And Friday, we'll show you a little bit more about that. So let's move on today. If I can bring up my PowerPoint, sorry about that. Technical difficulty.
Sometimes you got to say, what's the point of PowerPoint when the power doesn't point? There you go.
There we go. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the story of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and the ATM and how this started. As some of you might know, crypto ATMs began shortly after the U.S. Investment Bank, I believe it was Lehman Brothers, goes bankrupt in 2008 and triggers a global financial crisis. Now, there was a 9-page script right after that that appears on the internet and outlines a virtual currency by the name of Bitcoin and a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Now, if you think about this and we go into how the history goes, in 2009, in January 12th, Bitcoin was exchanged for its first time. 2010, Bitcoin exchange office goes online. 2010, Bitcoin was successfully transferred or transacted between 2 smartphones. And then in February of 2011, 1 Bitcoin was worth the same amount as $1, and that was for the first time in history. And then by the end of April, 1 Bitcoin had risen to $1.20 value and rose over right under $6 right after that. So in October 29th of 2013, and I love that 29th, there's a reason behind that, but RoboCoin machine opened the very first ATM in Waves Coffee Shop in Vancouver, Canada. And the machine is believed to be the very first one. Since then, Bitcoin ATMs have grown into a multi-million-dollar industry, and companies have operated the machines, collected sizable fees, reporting around well over 8.93%. There's a guy in New York doing about 32%, for instance, in Cottonwood. a firm controlled 91 machines in New York City at December of 2018, and it annually grossed exceeded $35 million, exceeded $35 million. And that's about what, 385,000 in cash per machine, and they only had 13 employees. 13 employees. That's pretty phenomenal. So today we have more than around 7,000 cryptocurrency ATM machines in operation around the world. ATMs in the last 2 years, the market has seen a massive growth of about 70% between 2018 and 19. We're just getting launched out here in 2020. And as you know, it's kind of put a little damper on things with our facing this COVID-19, but we're going to continue to go forward. We're getting a lot of interest in the ATMs, and our ATMs are not shut down around the world, which is beautiful because they're operating in grocery stores, some of the places, liquor stores and box stores and stuff like that. The post office box stores are still going. But the countries, most ATMs in the US are mostly in the United States. There's around estimated of 4,120 approximately. Canada has about 733, UK about 295, Australia about 193. And this is according, last week, according to Coin ATM Radar. Now, if you don't use Coin ATM Radar, they're a pretty good source. We list our ATMs on there for people to find those. You'll see, let me see if I can find this for you real quick. You'll see here, there's about 62 cryptocurrency manufacturers or crypto ATM manufacturers around the world. And about operators about 563. Now, there's a lot of cryptocurrency people saying they're manufacturing when they're not the actual manufacturer. And so of course, their prices are going to be marked up a little bit more than buying direct from us or from manufacturers like us. So, but there are around 563 operators according to Coin ATM Radar also. So if you'll look at the top cryptocurrency ATM operations now, you have about 3,529 ATMs, 46%. And then you have about 550 other operators running about 4,884 ATMs, 53.6%, the market share. So if you'll look on the screen, you can see right here in blue, you've got who they are. Now, some of these we private label. So if you wanted to have your own ATM and you didn't want CryptoMatic on there, of course, we can private label it for you, and it'll become your own ATM when you buy quantity. We love doing that with different vendors and keep them going. So market share, you'll see that crypto ATM producers, the top 3 producers, more than 70% of the crypto ATMs. This is all, you can find all this in CoinMarketCap. You can find it on CoinSource, and then Bitcoin Radar or Bitcoin ATM Radar too. Great spots to look at. The CryptoMatic is for everyone looking to generate income and operate an ATM. CryptoMatic offers ATMs to beginning at only 500, anywhere from 500 when it first started. And then we have up to over 4,500, up to $8,000, $16,000 machines even. When the ATMs first started, they were a lot less, and now they've become more complex because we've had to add more software, more coins, more hardware. Our ATMs are actually manufactured out. Hardware is in Germany, so we use a lot of their great components. Wrapping up, the cryptocurrency ATM market has just started. If you really think about this, it's really just beginning. We are the pioneers, and we see a lot of opportunity ahead. And I'm going to go over that Friday about the opportunities in the future that's coming with the ATMs. And what the growth is going to be and the interest in the market. I do see that, maybe the stable coins are going to happen with us and stay with us. And then the Bitcoin and the ATM market, I think, is going to be around for a minimum of at least the next 5 years, if not longer. There are people, you have to realize, and some of the people have spoken about countries that don't have ways, they don't have phones, they don't have a way to exchange their crypto. And of course, if you throw in a Bitcoin ATM in a market, a supermarket, or somewhere like that in Venezuela, or somewhere where the vendors or the merchants can actually exchange their crypto into cash. Cash is going to be around for a little longer, as I think, for a while longer. And I believe that people are going to need to cash it out, to cash their coins out. So there we go.
Joff, you're giving away 2 of these CryptoMatic ATMs for Virtual Blockchain Week. These are
indeed
super sexy machines right here. I mean, these are sleek and they're cash to crypto and crypto to cash, right?
They are. The ones we're giving away, the majority of the market today wants just to cash out, and the legalities and legal stuff. Sometimes you maybe not need an exchange license when you just do a cash in machine. So when you're doing cash in and cash out, that's an actual exchange of currency in some countries. So think about that. With the machine that we'll be giving away is a cash out only. So you disregard all the legalities. You'll need it's a business opportunity.
Sure.
One of the cool things about these machines too is, Joel, that those lights, that purple, that green, you can make them any color you want. When we send you the machine, that you can put it in blue. They're really pretty with blue too.
Nice. We're going to be giving away the first one of these. Joff is going to join us after CZ's keynote tonight, and you need to register for Virtual Blockchain Week in order to qualify to win. So if you haven't done so yet, go to virtualblockchainweek.com, get registered, and we'll see you later tonight, Joff, to give away the first of these bad boys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the time. I appreciate it. I can't wait. It's going to be amazing.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, good sir.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Travis. Joel, we'll see you soon, boss.
You bet. Mr. Travis Wright, that's good stuff right there. Can't wait to give one of these away. And right now, we're going to bring in one of the Bitcoin OGs for our opening keynote. Would you like to give him a proper introduction?
Very excited about this. And we had a chance to chat with this guy really early on in Aspen in 2017. One of our very first episodes, I think, is in the top first 20 episodes, Roger Ver. And, early on in the crypto days, like, there was no bigger proponent of crypto than Roger Ver. He saw it early on. He was one of the main venture capitalists for pretty much every one of those startups that started up early on in the crypto game. He's been a long proponent of voluntarism, the idea that all human actions should be by human consent or not at all. Ver was an early investor in Bitcoin-related startups. He has been known as Bitcoin Jesus in the past for his promotion of Bitcoin, owner of Bitcoin.com. What an honor to have with us the one and only Mr. Roger Ver.
Oh, yeah, the big RV in the house. Roger, go ahead and get your camera and your mic turned on so we can see you, we can hear you, as long as we don't have to smell you, because we don't know if you showered or not. I mean, a lot of people are stuck inside, and maybe they have. Maybe
I am on a 4-day in a row shower streak. I'm very impressed with that.
Really? That is super impressive. Way to go. Well, he was in the waiting room here, and he might have stepped aside for a moment. He's going to be back. He's like, oh, crap. I'm on. Mom, I've got to go talk to these guys here at the Bad Cryptos. So while we're waiting for him, Mr. Travis Wright, those of you that have already registered, you may not have put your Ethereum wallet address in. And it's super important that you do. And let me give you a quick walkthrough here of what this looks like on the Eventbrite site. So if you've registered already and you did not put in your Ethereum wallet to make airdrops, go to eventbrite.com right here and go to your tickets. And once you're there in tickets, click on the Virtual Blockchain Week ticket and then scroll to where it says edit. Okay, now that you're here, you can go ahead and paste your Ethereum wallet address in here and save it. That's going to qualify you to get some free NFTs from Virtual Blockchain Week. We want to make sure that you do that. And now the man is here, Mr. Roger Ver. How you doing, buddy?
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Good to see you again. It's been a while.
Time goes fast. Can hardly believe how fast it goes.
I know. What are you thinking of the run that's happening right now?
Never ever a boring day in crypto, but I think the price is just the side effect of the adoption happening in actual commerce or the people speculating on the future adoption there. So I actually don't get excited about the day-to-day price volatility, although it's more fun when it goes up than down.
That is true. And we're excited to hear your presentation today, good sir, bringing more economic freedom to the world with digital currencies. And we need more freedom because we're all locked down in our houses right now. And freedom is like a very nebulous thing, it seems to. It's almost like we have permissions to do things more than freedom. So I'm really excited to hear about your presentation today. Do you have a deck, or are you going to?
I sure do. I have a whole deck and everything. I can put
Go
it
ahead.
put it on the screen.
Bring it on up.
All right.
Bring it on
Let's
up.
go ahead and do that.
I'm excited to see. We got a lot of people watching all over the world waiting to hear what you've got to say. So take it away, good sir.
All right, there we go. So I have the wonderful virtual blockchain week start page there. So we're talking about the future of money at Bitcoin.com. That's what we're trying to do for the world. And my presentation actually today is actually based off of a blog post by Brian Armstrong, the founder of Coinbase from a few years back. And his blog post was talking about how digital currencies will change the world. And there's a great quote from Brian here. It says, digital currency may be the most effective way the world has ever seen to increase economic freedom. If this happens, the implications are profound. It could lift many countries out of poverty, improve the lives of billions of people, and accelerate the pace of innovation in the world. And so that's a really, really exciting quote from Brian Armstrong. And it's nice to see so many other early cryptocurrency adopters excited about the exact same things that attracted me to cryptocurrencies as well. So let's talk about this whole economic freedom that the whole world doesn't have very much of at the moment, right? We can see everybody's locked down and they're trying to dictate what price you can sell your mask or your hand sanitizer for, or any of that other sort of stuff here. And so we have some definitions here of what economic freedom is, right? So it's a measure of how easy it is for members of a society to participate in the economy. It has a number of factors such as how easy is it to start a business, whether property rights are enforced, free trade with people in other nations, regulation of labor and business, and the stability of the currency, right? And so we've seen with this coronavirus stuff recently, like they're literally telling people what price they can or can't sell their toilet paper for. And like anybody that studies economics will know that anytime you have price controls, that leads to shortages, right? So you need to have the prices be able to transmit the information as to what goods people want or what goods people don't want. And if you block those prices from being able to change, you're blocking that information to the economy as to what things need to take place. And then, of course, with fantastic tools like Open Bazaar and local.bitcoin.com, you can literally, and darknet markets as well, you can trade with people all over the world, regardless of what country they're in. It's really, really an amazing thing for the whole world. And then anybody can start their business. Anyone can pay anybody else. At Bitcoin.com, we're paying people all over the world. We pay people in Venezuela and Brazil and Russia in Bitcoin Cash. And it's just really, really fun to see that, like, literally we can pay people all over the world and we don't have to deal with the bank. We don't have to report to the bank, oh, why are you sending this wire? Oh, we're going to hold it until they give us this information or that information. No, they just tell us their address and we can send it anywhere in the world. And it's just really, really fantastic on that front as well. So, and here we can see, though, a list of countries around the world ranked by the amount of economic freedom they have. And you can see the countries with the most economic freedom are places like Hong Kong, Singapore, New Zealand, and Switzerland, all fantastic places to live where people from all around the rest of the world would love to move to and be there. And if you look at the countries with the least amount of economic freedom in the world, it's places like North Korea, Venezuela, Cuba, and the Congo. And like people aren't trying to move there from all over the world. In fact, those are the places where people, in North Korea, they literally have to have armed guards to prevent people from escaping because it's so bad. And so you can see just a really, really stark contrast between the countries with the most economic freedom versus the countries with the least amount of economic freedom. And it's very, very clear which one of those two lists of countries just about everybody listening here would rather live in. And sometimes a picture is worth 1,000 words. So here we can see Hong Kong in the 1950s when it was just kind of a little bit of a sleepy fishing village versus Hong Kong today. That's just an absolutely amazing world-class economic powerhouse. And that wasn't all that long, right? Just a couple of generations. It went from basically nothing to this amazing, amazing city. And for anybody who's ever been to Hong Kong, as soon as you arrive there, you can just feel the economic energy and the power and the pulsing of financial things happening there. So it's just an amazing, amazing city. And I don't think it's coincidence that it's also one of the cities with the most city-states with one of the most amounts of economic freedom in the world over that time. And here we can see Havana, Cuba, over the same time period. And you can see that it didn't actually make all that much progress at all. So you can see on the left in the 1950s versus Cuba today, Havana, Cuba today, not much happened, right? And so I don't think it's just a coincidence that not much happened, because it was one of the places with the least amount of economic freedom in the world. So very, very stark contrast between Hong Kong versus Cuba in the same time period. And you can take other examples historically. If you look at, for those of us that are old enough to remember, East Germany and West Germany, right? So in West Germany, you had a whole lot more economic freedom, and they were busy producing Porsches and Mercedes and BMWs and Audis, and people had a relatively high standard of living, and it was a pretty darn nice place. And in East Germany, you had, way, way less economic freedom and just freedom in general. And about the only thing they were able to produce out of East Germany, unlike the Mercedes and Porsches and BMWs from West Germany, all they were able to produce was a great big giant wall to prevent people from being able to escape. And I think that's another really clear contrast where you have, the same, ethnic people, same culture, same natural resources, yet two very, very different outcomes just because of the difference in the amount of economic freedom there. And so we can talk about, why is economic freedom so important? Well, it leads to higher per capita income, higher life expectancy, higher literacy rates, better income for the poorest 10% in society, improved environmental protection, fewer wars and violent conflicts, and higher self-reported happiness of the citizens with less corruption and bribery, like all fantastic things that everybody should be in favor of and excited about. And in fact, we even have some stats here so you can see exactly. So here in green, the dark green are the countries with the most economic freedom. Light green are countries with still a fair amount of economic freedom, to yellow in the middle, orange, and then red is the least amount of economic freedom. And you can see very, very clearly that in countries with the most amount of economic freedom, the poorest 10% still earn far, far, far more money than in countries with less economic freedom. And so just ask yourself, would you rather be a poor person in Hong Kong, Switzerland, Singapore, or a poor person in North Korea, Cuba, or Venezuela? And it's so clear that it's better to be a poor person in a rich country than to be a poor person in a poor country. And more economic freedom leads to countries becoming richer. And here we can see the overall income per capita, right? In dark green are the countries with the most economic freedom versus red with the least. Very, very, very clear correlation there. The more economic freedom a country has, the higher the per capita income that country has. And here we can see the adult literacy rates as well. I don't know if this is cause or effect for this one, but the more people know how to read, the more economic freedom the country has, or maybe it's the reverse. Maybe the more economic freedom a country has, the more people learn how to read. So, but very, very clear correlation here. And the least economic freedom, the fewer people know how to read in those countries. And here you can see life expectancy, right? In countries with more economic freedom, people tend to live longer, and not just a little bit longer, like nearly 20 years longer, right? So I just turned 41 recently. That's about half of my entire life so far, is the average amount of time that people live longer in countries with more economic freedom versus the countries with the least amount of economic freedom. So very, very, very clear correlation there as well. And I think causation as well. And again, unemployment, right? So of course this makes sense. In countries with a whole lot of economic freedom, you don't have to jump through a bunch of hoops or ask for a bunch of permission from a bunch of bureaucrats you've never met you and they know nothing about your business. You don't have to ask them for permission. You just hire somebody and get started and build your business. And so if it's super easy for anybody to hire anybody without getting a bunch of permission, well, guess what? A whole bunch more people will have jobs. And in countries where the government tries to control everything and they have all sorts of crazy rules and regulations and licensing stuff, they make you jump through and pay a bunch of fees and whatnot. Well, guess what? When it's harder to hire people, fewer people will get hired. And we can see very, very clearly here in countries with the least amount of economic freedom, far fewer people have jobs, right? A lot more people are looking for work in countries with less economic freedom because it's harder to hire people. And here, people on the internet love to make fun about me saying, babies are dying. Well, pick up an economics book and take a look, right? In countries with more economic freedom, fewer babies die at childbirth than in countries with less economic freedom. So if you want to see more babies survive being born, you should be advocating for more economic freedom around the world because it leads to more babies surviving childbirth. So more economic freedom is good for adults, it's good for young people, it's good for old people, it's even good for babies. And here you can see it very clearly in the chart there. And then again, if you care about young people, you can see very clearly in the countries with the most amount of economic freedom, you have the fewest number of children in the labor force. And that's not because of laws that politicians passed in the economically free countries. It's because the society was able to become affluent enough in which children no longer needed to work in order to survive. So whereas in countries with the least amount of economic freedom and people are desperately poor, well, guess what? Kids are going to go into the labor force right away, because when you have a choice between being able to eat or going to work, you're gonna go to work so you can be able to eat. And so you can see very, very clearly the correlation here in countries with more economic freedom. Fewer children are in the labor force than in countries with less economic freedom. So if you don't want to see children working from a very, very young age, you should be advocating for more economic freedom as well. And here we can, I want to point out, correlation doesn't prove causation, but there's logical reasons to think that there's lots and lots of causation here. And when we see example after example in both theory and in practice of greater economic freedom leading to better results for rich and poor, young and old, everybody around the world of every race and every culture, we can make some really, really strong inferences. And so that's what brings us to peer-to-peer electronic cash's impact on economic freedom, right? Because if you have a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, it makes it easier for you to start a business. It enforces your property rights. It promotes free trade. It enables freedom of contract. It enables people to opt out of corrupt systems. So that's what got me so excited about Bitcoin back in 2011, almost 10 years ago now, was that with peer-to-peer electronic cash on the internet, anybody can now engage in free trade with anybody else. And what could possibly be more exciting about that? And we've seen the narrative shift a bit over the last few years to this digital gold store of value thing. And if you want to participate in it, that's fine. Go ahead and you can do that. But it doesn't bring these same benefits of bringing more economic freedom to the entire world. What brings the benefits of economic freedom to the entire world and the economic growth that enables that are peer-to-peer electronic cash systems, not peer-to-peer store value systems. And so that's why I'm so bullish about any cryptocurrency that works as peer-to-peer electronic cash. And so here we have a fantastic quote about Brian Armstrong and bringing more economic freedom to the world. He says that it will serve as a giant economic stimulus package for the world, accelerate innovation, reduce wars, make the poorest 10% better off, overthrow corrupt governments, and raise happiness. What could make you happier than doing all those things for around the world, right? And that's what peer-to-peer electronic cash systems enable. And that's why I say that Bitcoin Cash and digital currencies are the best tools the world has ever seen to accomplish these goals. So if you want to accomplish all those goals, you better get involved with peer-to-peer electronic cash systems that enable more economic freedom around the world. And so that's why I've been so excited in this space for almost 10 years now, all day, every day, whether a lockdown or not lockdown, it's all cryptocurrencies that work as currencies all day, every day. And so if that excites you too, and you want to spread this to the world and bring more economic freedom to the world and make everybody's life better, rich or poor, young or old, tell your friends, right? Set them up with a cryptocurrency wallet. You can get started with Bitcoin Cash. You can get started with Dash, Monero, Zcash, Zcoin, even Bitcoin BTC if that's what you really want to. But as someone that was using it in my own business, I stopped using it a couple of years ago because I paid more than $1,000 in fees, more times than I can count to move that Bitcoin. And what a lot of people don't realize is that the software engineers behind the future of the Bitcoin roadmap, they want the fees to be high for on-chain transactions. And don't be fooled by that. Pay attention to peer-to-peer electronic cash systems if you want to bring more economic freedom to the world. Peer-to-peer electronic store value systems, that's fine if you want to participate in it, but it doesn't really help bring more economic freedom to the world and all the benefits that that brings. So anyhow, that's my presentation today. While everybody's on lockdown around the world with feeling a little bit less economic freedom, here's some of the companies that I invested in over the years. So for anybody that doesn't know, I was literally the first person in the entire world to start investing in this ecosystem. And that's why I've been involved, because I want to bring more economic freedom to the world. And I want your help to do it. So, and I need your help to do it because it's up to all of us. And so one fast, fun little thing that I have here, once I exit this and stop my screen sharing, what we can do here is I have some peer-to-peer electronic cash here. Anybody with the Bitcoin.com wallet or any other wallet that can scan a private key, if you scan these, each one of these QR codes is a private key. And it has $5 worth of Bitcoin Cash on it. And so the first person to scan each and every one of these gets $5 worth of Bitcoin Cash, just like that, from this piece of paper, through the camera, out to wherever you are in the world watching this live stream, and that has $5 on it. And it's worth pointing out, right now the fees on Bitcoin are about $2 per transaction. So if I were doing this in Bitcoin, you'd claim the $5, you'd have to spend about $2 in fees to get it, so you'd receive $3 in your wallet. And then when you went to spend the $3 in your wallet, it would take another $2 in fees. So the person you were sending the money to would only be able to get $1. And then they wouldn't even be able to spend the $1 at all because it would cost $2 in fees, which they wouldn't even have. So that was the reason why a couple of years ago, I switched to promoting Bitcoin Cash rather than Bitcoin. because from my point of view, Bitcoin Cash is the same version of Bitcoin that I got so excited about in 2011. And so that's not an attack on Bitcoin. That's just a statement of the fact of the matter there. And so like saying that gold, weighs more than aluminum isn't an attack on aluminum. It's just stating that they're different. So if you want a peer-to-peer electronic cash system that allows you to send money right over, a video call on Zoom to people all over the world, Bitcoin Cash enables that. Bitcoin no longer does. So anyhow, that's why I'm so excited about Bitcoin Cash. If you haven't tried it out today, head on over to bitcoin.com. If you want to make your own token as well, mint.bitcoin.com, and another permissionless tool that we have where you can buy or sell anything or Bitcoin Cash with any payment method in any country, anywhere in the world with no KYC, no permission from anybody whatsoever. Check out local.bitcoin.com. These are the tools to enable more economic freedom around the world, and that's what we're busy doing at bitcoin.com. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to present and give away free Bitcoin Cash on the live stream here.
That was awesome. Thank you so much for that. People were trying to do their screen cap, I'm sure. They're like, wait, hold on. You're moving it. Stop moving it. Wait, I can't.
You want to try and show it again or what?
Yeah, well, we can show you. I moved very slowly across each and every QR code, hoping that they would have time. And if you want to make your own gifts like these, you can head on over to gifts.bitcoin.com, and then you can hand these out to trick-or-treaters, or you can give them out as tips at restaurants, or whatever you want to do. And the really neat part about it is each one of these is a private key. When you make these using gifts.bitcoin.com, bitcoin.com keeps a copy of the signed transaction, not the private key, but a signed transaction to send the money back to you. So if nobody claims this after 30 days or whatever time frame you set, the money goes right back to your wallet. So you don't have to be worried about giving these out as tips to people that aren't ever going to claim them. The Bitcoin Cash will come right back to you if the person never bothers to claim it. So it's a really fantastic tool at gifts.bitcoin.com. And I hope more people will use it to spread peer-to-peer electronic cash around the world.
That's great. You know what? I want to tell you this, Roger. Thank you for all you've done for the industry. I know sometimes people try to bust your balls, but you know what? You've been out there from the beginning trying to create mass adoption and making people aware of this, and what you've done with voluntarism and sort of the libertarian sort of point of view of, hey, we should be able to control our own stuff and we don't need these big banks and intermediaries. We should be able to manage a lot of this stuff on our own. And all those companies that you've invested in early on to help build this ecosystem up. I mean, we are all truly indebted to you in some way or form for what you've done. So thank you for all of that.
My pleasure. It was fun for me too, Travis. Thank you. And thank you so much for you guys helping spread the word on your podcast and with this virtual blockchain week as well. I'm really thankful to you guys as well.
Yeah, well, just like you've gotten some heat, like Travis was talking about for Bitcoin Cash, Craig Wright gets a lot of heat for Bitcoin SV. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on Satoshi's vision?
I don't think Bitcoin SV deserves any heat, but I think Craig Wright's lawsuits against everybody and his threatening to sue everybody over patents, I think all of that deserves a lot of criticism. At the end of the day, people should be, and the other thing that just doesn't make any sense to me at all there is they're talking about, Bitcoin SV needs to be compliant and obedient to all the laws around the world. Well, if your cryptocurrency is going to obey every law around the world, what do you need a cryptocurrency for? Just use PayPal. The entire point of cryptocurrencies is that by technological design, they're above the law, and whatever laws politicians get together and write doesn't affect the way that the cryptocurrencies work. So that part of Bitcoin SV, I don't understand at all.
I wonder, how's that going to end with Craig? What do you think is, because I understand the suits right now are basically saying he's got to prove that he is Satoshi and that he's got the Bitcoin to pay, these fees.
Yeah, how is it going to end? I don't know. Stay tuned.
That's true. And I do believe that Cointelegraph wants to interview you. So I don't know if you got an email or something telling you there's like some Zoom where you're going to go in and chat with some journalist over there if you could. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but I think it's.
Yep, I have it on my calendar, and I'm ready for them as soon as we're done here.
Perfect. They're standing by for you then. Roger Ver, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you, my friend. Stay bad.
Thanks, guys.
Take care. And we'll send them over to talk to Cointelegraph right now. And you guys can watch later on Cointelegraph.com for the article that'll be coming out about that.
Fantastic.
That's great stuff. Thank you so much, Roger.
Mr. Travis Wright, we have a few minutes here before our next guest. And, earlier when we were talking to Bobby Ong from CoinGecko, he mentioned that anybody, could list their own tokens. And he said bad coin. And I said, well, we're going to talk about that a little bit. We've got just a few minutes. I'm going to pull up the website. Maybe you can tell the story of bad coin.
For sure. Well, one of the things that we discovered about the cryptos is that, to mine Bitcoin now is a very expensive operation. You have to have a warehouse full of ASIC miners, and you have to really be out there just, investing who knows how much money to try to even get to the point where you can be making money doing Bitcoin. So I think the original, sort of peer-to-peer of Bitcoin has gone away, and the mining has become more centralized. And so one of the thoughts that we did was, how do we actually convert this and flip the funnel a bit and make it so, anybody can mine the crypto and not have to have a whole huge, mining farm. And so what we did was we created Badcoin, badcoin.net. It was one of our good friends, Marshall Long. Him and his team, donated some time and built Badcoin. It's a peer-to-peer multi-chain built on 5 different blockchain protocols. And so basically what happens is if you have a room full of ASIC computers, you're going to be competing against somebody that has a MacBook. And these different algorithms are going to have different difficulties based on the amount of hash that is going on. And so we sort of created this thing and we made it open source. And so anyone can take the open source code of Badcoin and then, maybe create a universal basic income token for their own country or a city, or you can use it, whatever. It's a really powerful protocol that we put together. The name is funny. It's Badcoin, but it's really pretty good. And you can mine it and you can utilize it. We really like to have more people finding ways to utilize this, because based on, this is a completely, community driven project. We've not spent money building this. We've not, had anybody pay for anything. It's completely, sort of open source. And it's one of those things you got to do with the SEC. You got to protect yourself. And so we sort of, put these things together, give it to the universe, and maybe somebody can make something of this and help this thing become valuable.
There's no ICO or anything like that. It's just out there for you to mine. You could download the Bad wallet from the website, and then all the instructions on here for mining on this website. Just go to badcoin.net. There's hundreds of people that have mined Badcoin. There's a whole Badcoin community. There's a Badcoin Telegram. It's really a lot of fun. So check it out. Give it a try. Maybe Badcoin is the next Doge. I don't know. It's a community coin, and it's up to you guys to see how it works.
You can take it, build something with it, and if the right developer comes along and does something to make it cool, then there might be some value in it someday. But we have no determination over that or any idea of it even being worth anything ever. It's just a fun project to teach people how blockchain works, and that open source protocol could be used in a pretty valuable way.
Good sir, the world and the work of the mixed media world is really interesting, especially as we enter this brave new world of crypto and blockchain and digital art. Our next speaker, his name is Vesa. He's got a last name, but I don't think he likes to even use it because, it's kind of like, Madonna, right? It's just one name. Vesa is his name, right? And
Vesa was his name.
He combines photography, painting, body painting, and digital collaging into a single expression. He calls this process Artivo, which has been widely featured on Forbes and on Vice. His collaboration in 2013 with the Bollywood actress Veena Malik reached around 300 million people. And his platform, Art for Crypto, is rapidly establishing new creative standards in the blockchain art space. He actually developed a piece after his first appearance on the Bad Crypto podcast called Blood on the Podcast Floor, and it has been signed by a whole bunch of crypto OGs that he's going to auction off. He wants to raise $1 million for charity with it.
I think everybody's on there. I mean, the amount of people that signed that thing is insane.
He's going to talk today about liberating the creative class via NFTs. Vesa, welcome to Virtual Blockchain Week, our artistic friend. He's got his own artwork there right behind him too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hey buddy, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you guys?
Excellent to see you always. And I understand you've got a presentation to share. We're going to let you take it away.
Thanks, Joe. Nice to see you guys. I don't know if you did an introduction or not. So my name is Vesa, and I'm an artist and a writer. I've been a digital artist for about 12 years already. and very, very focused on the world of cryptocurrencies, if not only cryptocurrencies, for the past 3 years. And I'd like to start this whole thing with something that is very obvious to me, but might not be obvious to other people in crypto from an artist point of view, is that there are no pro Wall Street artists. And at the same time, there are no anti-Bitcoin artists. And what this really means is that there's not a precedent in history that I can think of where a whole legion of artists are behind a movement, and especially if that movement is about money and resources and that kind of a thing, because it's a little bit of a taboo thing in the art world to begin with. So it's a slightly counterintuitive thing to think of artists as a resource for businesses and this whole space, because traditionally we've been, and for a long time now, reserved for a certain kind of political elitist class, and narrowingly so to the radical left in a certain kind of way. And the institutions of the art world have gone, you could see a lot of parallels to what's happened to the media as to what's happened to the art world in a sense. And what I'm attempting to do with this talk is to wrap up the perfect storm of a bunch of things that are happening now in the whole crypto community space. I was a little bit freaked out for a little bit because I wasn't sure if this had frozen, because I see Joel is frozen in front of me, but I'm sure it's on. So basically, when you think of computers and our history with computers, we have grown accustomed to knowing them as machines that are very good at replicating things, and especially the whole of the past 20 years, they've copied our movie files, they've copied the songs, they've copied our JPEG images, and it's a little bit counterintuitive to start to think all of a sudden of a JPEG image as a sole unique new asset that can have attached value attached to it. And right now, if you start to talk about digital art, the majority of the people, and even those who are into Bitcoin and crypto, who are already quite accustomed to digital assets, they have some sort of a cognitive dissonance a little bit when it comes to crypto art as a similar kind of class of value. And in a sense, from an artist's point of view, that is quite bizarre, because in many platforms, let's say like Super Rare, you only have art pieces that are made once. They're unique. Not 21 million, but one. And you have these prominent artists who've crafted a name of some along decades, who are now contributing their value into these kinds of things. And it's quite a thing. But one of the arguments that often comes up then is like, well, what's it backed up by? Where could I show it? And I hope to answer those things in a little bit. But before then, I need to go back a little bit more in order to make sense of this. And as well as the politically reserved narrow bandwidth, there's some problems that we have with the physical art world. Like one industry known secret is that in Sotheby's and Christie's, who really have the biggest guns to actually make sure that an art piece is authentic, even in their catalogs, the industry secret is that up to 50% can be fakes. And let's say if you have a Jackson Pollock, the guy who's the foremost expert on Jackson Pollocks right now refuses to verify any more of them simply because of the amount of frauds that are out there. And you have these Chinese sort of art render farms now, and all kinds of things that are highly problematic for you to know that art piece is coming from where it's coming from. And of course, crypto art solves a bunch of these problems. And to further go along to something, my parents' generation, the boomer generation, they took ownership for granted, that they would more than likely own their houses and have at least 2.5 cars, as well as kids, and if not more. And my generation, of Generation X, we grew up in an atmosphere where we're not at all comfortable and secure knowing that we might own a house or a bunch of other things. So we're the gig economy people, and it seems that it's gotten weirder and weirder, and people have like $500 maximum that they're sort of reserved for any accidents, let alone savings and things like that. In America here, like about 50% of the people. So there's this side of things that is now coupled to this separation of physical and digital. And for me, I've been operating in the digital realm for about 20 years already. So I was just waiting for these solutions to come along, because for me, that's the digital dark ages to a relative degree. And where you might be able to showcase some of these NFTs, these crypto assets that you're buying that are digital, is, for example, crypto voxels. This is a whole place where a lot of the desires and needs of the Generation X and further are now starting to be met, because they can own their fancy cars and plots of land and these very fantastical places and decorate them with art and these sort of adorable pixelated shoes or whatever it is. And it's at a very beginner's phase in a certain kind of way, but you can also already see that the human psychology is transferring one-to-one and more into the digital realm already. And these digital museums like Mokda are being built as we speak, and the transition is in full swing in that kind of a way. And you could say that also these kinds of conferences, I mean, this virtual blockchain week is one of the best examples of a whole new thing relating to COVID. And one of the thoughts that I had is that there's no reason for these big conferences that are only now happening annually to be so anymore, because we're going to be more accustomed to being accessing these things from home with our virtual reality goggles. And let's say if a big conference builds their whole space in the virtual reality, they can start hosting them as meetups on a weekly basis, as opposed to every other year. So we're doing big transitions into the virtual realm already. And of course, these names are crafted now, and some of the first mover sort of benefits are there, because for the sole reason of people laughing at digital art right now as an asset class, or not even being on their radar, is why it has many similarities to, let's say, the very early Bitcoin. Those opportunities of holding on to the first 10x and the 100x and the 1000x and those kinds of things, and most people having folded, they're now going on in crypto art and in these sometimes unique and limited edition assets. And in a one way, you could say, because there's a bunch of people who are creating in digital ways. You have virtual reality that is coming in, you have illustration, you have painters, you have all these, a variety of augmented reality expressions are in a sense crypto art, because they will very likely be monetized via crypto solutions. So you could say that crypto is going to be the foundation of this whole movement that essentially, I'm arguing here, with everything that's come before it and the way that this is happening, it's so much more than a traditional crypto art movement, that it's really a liberation of a whole creative class who are not accustomed to having a whole bunch of resources, and not seen as something that can be very useful from a business side, from a philosophy side, from all of these kinds of things, and how to help a whole evolution of humanity come about in a very different kind of way. Because I was just listening to Tika Tiwari as well, his newest talk about something that reminded me of a thing at the precipice of this new bull run now, is that the last time, the peak of the bull run, we went to about 800 billion or something like that, and we came back to about 200. And now, in his opinion and many others, we might be going into the trillions. So it's not beyond the realm of possibility, as crazy as that sounds. But that also, of course, means that there's going to be at least 10x the volume of people who are coming into crypto, and they will have crypto, and they're going to want to spend it on something. And very likely 10 times the volume of interest into crypto art will now also enter into the space via the next, now it seems, looming bull run. And that's something interesting to keep in mind, because a lot of these artists who are already prominent names, and the ones who are emerging, who are really putting together a lot of thought and a lot of beautiful expression into this space, are already there. And they're not hard to find as investments. And on another kind of level, what is really cool is that you have these kids, you have a whole bunch of kids who are basically just throwing shit at a window and seeing what sticks. And I can't help but to remember what I was like when I was 20, and really got into Photoshop and things like that, if I could have gotten like $30 for a digital creation that I made back in the day, oh, what a different kind of reality this would have been if I was able to grow with that kind of a solution, which I didn't have for 20 years almost. And that's something to behold. In that sense, the crypto art realm is that it's a little bit unsophisticated. There's a lot of things that haven't transferred over from the legacy world, and in some ways that's beautiful because people are just looking at the expression, but it's also, there's a little bit of sophistication that is lacking. That is another kind of, well, a little bit of a hindrance in the case of those of us who have been here for a long time sometimes, but also there's opportunity there. And in order to really showcase the capacity of what NFTs are, because there really isn't anyone else who's doing something in the scale and scope of what we're now doing with another phenomenal artist called Mani Alota. We are basically doing a collaboration that I really wanted to put a lot of ideas into this to showcase what is possible to do in one crypto art NFT. And in order to do so, I started getting these sort of flashes of what really is interesting to me. And for a long time, I looked into the work of John Anthony West, who's an Egyptologist, and as well as Graham Hancock, who's another one, he's an adventurer, their whole life's work, as well as Randall Carson now, who's a geologist. And basically, and also this phenomenal documentary called The Revelation of the Pyramids. And they dwell into a couple of very, very interesting ideas. First and foremost, that there was a cataclysmic event about 12,000 years ago that was on such a scale of destruction and these flood myths that prevail all over the world from that kind of a period, that now we're starting to have these discoveries like Göbekli Tepe, this site that can be confirmed that is 12,000 years old, that sort of throws a giant monkey wrench into history. So this cataclysmic event, as well as that we might have had a whole unified culture all around the world in a very different kind of way, as we're mainstream history now teaches us. And basically what that leads up to is that we have collective amnesia about our past that sort of bleeds into our psychology because we don't remember who we are and where we're coming from. But there are a lot of these, let's say the Mayan calendar, and a bunch of these cultures, what they point to is this, what Plato called the great year, the 26,000 year elliptical cycle that the earth is on, that all of these ancient cultures had some references to. And the Sphinx points to the constellation of Leo, and it's a crazy amount of information to share, but that's only a quarter of this substance of this art piece. So when we come out of that into the present and we start to seeing all of the different threats of what we now have, we still have our finger on the nuke. We're building fossil fuels and destroying nature. We have the control societies, all of these totalitarian ideas of where we might be going into dystopias and so forth, which will be presented. And then finishing off with something that is positive and thinking where we are, what technology, and especially with crypto solutions, can we now utilize to build a true tree of life. And knowing that a lot of the smartest guys in the room, what they're really saying is that we are becoming now an interplanetary species. And I thought, well, okay, well, if we truly have this threat still, that apparently we use only the annual budget of what it takes to run a McDonald's for a year in monitoring the skies, and apparently it's a busy sky. So we have these pandemics, we have a bunch of different threats of how we might like really have something bad happen. So what would be our responsibility to do? What's the next possible thing that we could do in order to make sure that we back up the information so we don't have another library burning like the Alexandria library burning with all of the information that is there. And in the crypto community, we constantly talk about going to the moon. We talk, oh, this and that will moon and this, whatever. And I just thought, well, a little bit of research. My friend Jamie said that it basically takes 1.2 seconds to go to the moon and back as a signal. We already have the Blockstream satellite that is backing up the Bitcoin monitoring. And basically, why not make some sort of an effort to put something on the moon that is a mirror of our internet, an uncensored whole database that should something bad really happen, everything is in real time backed up to the moon pretty much. So as crazy as this sounds, and further once we go somewhere, so it really, this NFT, this art piece, it's attempting to showcase our collective amnesia, our present threats, and the positive and the beauty and the future all at once. And this is what we're cramming in with money and his mastery, because he's a sort of storytelling lunatic like I am, and it's such a positive thing. I just get chills with it, as well as concepts like what I have behind me. Like this is a digital art piece originally that is behind me, and then I print them 3 times only and repaint on top of them to make them unique. And basically I solved the problem that I had, that most people aren't really that interested about what makes art valuable and those kinds of things. So I reversed the psychology and said, this is stable art. So the price of them is tied to Bitcoin. That is 1 Bitcoin now bought commercially from me, and it'll be also 1 Bitcoin after the now coming bull run. And you can think of what those implications are with regards to the value of the art. But of course, if all 3 of them, let's say, have sold after a while, that means that if someone wants them, no one's going to part from them for less than a Bitcoin, because the potential of art is to go parabolic, kind of like Bitcoin. So even though you might have bought it for a Bitcoin, you might get 10 from it, as opposed to it being a depreciating asset. So those are some of the potential that is going on with that. With regards to the Bad Crypto podcast and our previous collaborations and this fantastic project that we did together, Blood on the Podcast Floor, this art piece that is unique, that has over 50 influencer signatures, going from Vitalik and Charlie Shrem and Charles Hoskinson and further. Basically, now it's in custody somewhere, so it's not even in the same country as me. And oh yeah, there it is, fantastic. And those are the signatures. So basically, we figured out a way in how to keep this project alive with the pandemic, because that is also a digital file before it got printed and painted once. So now openlaw.io kindly provided me with a template so we can start the digital signatures and them rolling in, and especially getting a lot more female influencers to sign this piece, because essentially we're attempting to get over $1 million donated to HAWK, which is the Houston Women's Center that is fighting against physical and sexual violence towards women. And that's a unifying crypto project that is something that I'm very privileged to be a part of, and I'm glad to do with you guys. And yeah, you can find me at artforcrypto.com, and Twitter and Instagram is art by Vesa, VESA. And I like to have these conversations, even if it's just to say hello and help people understand what this whole thing is about. It doesn't have to be about buying art or anything sort of serious like that. I'm happy to just help this space grow.
That was great, Vesa. And check this out. You'll appreciate this book. Magicians of the Gods by Graham Hancock talks about go Blecky Tepe, however the hell you say it. Yeah, that was a really interesting rabbit hole to see that humanity was around 12 to 14,000 years ago, and they basically just buried it to hide it, and it was completely hidden. And there's this whole huge area in Turkey that has been unexplored, and fascinating stuff. Thank you so much for coming in, brother.
Thank you so much for having me. And I'll shoot you a documentary called Revelation of the Pyramids. I know you will fucking love it, brother.
I love that stuff, man. That's one of the reasons why that I'm sort of here, is like I love to explore things. I just try to find the truth, and I know that you're the same way, and I appreciate that about you, and you and your spiritual journey that you've been here as a human experience this time. And I think that you're doing some amazing stuff, and we need more people out there exploring and trying to find the actual truth. And as you said, a lot of it's been hidden from us. We don't even really know how powerful we are.
Well, the love comes right back to the both of you. I'm so happy to know you, and that we've become better and better friends. And I hope this continues, and the search for truth does as well.
Thanks, Vesa. Make sure you say hi to your lovely lady for us.
Will do.
And while Vesa was, doing his thing, I actually did venture forth to the moon. Travis and I hopped in our Lambo, and that's what we've been doing.
I'm really concerned about that. Is there enough oxygen in there? That's kind of small. I don't know. I like to suck lots of oxygen.
Yeah.
You might die before me.
All right. Hey, we'll see you later, Vesa. Thanks, man.
Cheers, guys.
Take care. That's some good stuff right there, Mr. Travis, right?
That is true. Also, some good stuff is our sponsor. I want to give a sweet shout out to Trader Cobb. In case you missed it, Trader Cobb was on, I believe, on Monday. You can go back and watch it on the Bad Crypto Facebook page. And very soon you'll be able to rewatch all the stuff here on virtualblockchainweek.com. And Trader Cobb was founded in 2019 with the purpose of educating people on trading in the space of crypto. It separates itself from the crowd by bringing experience, simplicity, and confidence to trading education. They're on a mission to help everyone become the best trader that they can. And that's good news because trading the cryptos is hard because crypto goes up, crypto goes down. And if you don't have a good Sherpa to help you understand it all, you could get hosed. So get started now. They have a really good trading course, and it's at vbw20, vbw20.com/trader. And also, if you go to the sponsor page, go to virtualblockchainweek.com, click on the blue sponsor, you get a special conference deal from Trader Cobb. So good stuff.
Absolutely. And I want to give people a reminder, if you haven't registered yet, go to virtualblockchainweek.com, register. We're going to be giving away the first of 2 CryptoMaticATM machines after CZ's keynote tonight. Also, please, we're asking one favor of you. This event is free. Here's the favor. Go to the site and click this blue sponsors button up here. When you do, you're going to be helping us and you're going to be helping our sponsors. Each of them is listed here with their own unique special offer. And you're going to find giveaways on here. You're going to find freebies. You're going to find opportunities. You're going to discover some great products and services that you didn't know existed. So please take a moment, go to virtualblockchainweek.com, click the sponsors button, and check out all the cool products and services that are supporting this event, bringing it to you, making it possible.
Yeah, there's a big shout out to our team who helped make all that happen because they've been working hard. There's a lot of stuff that goes on trying to put on a week-long virtual blockchain conference. Most of the time, you notice people will do a virtual conference, it's like a day, 2 days. We're like, we're going to do 5 days, and we're going to actually add on a day on each end with lots of other stuff. And then also on Saturday are the Blockchain Influencer Awards that you're going to want to tune into. So this does not end on Friday. The party continues through Saturday, and there's going to be a lot of really interesting categories and interesting winners that you maybe have never even heard before, but you get to hear me say interesting, and every time you do, you have to take a drink.
You got to take a drink.
And every time you hear Joel say absolutely or hunkering and bunkering, you must take a drink.
That's also 2 drinks. 2
That's
drinks.
2
right
drinks.
there. So there is in the history of Bad Crypto, one guy that while we were interviewing him, the conversation was so fascinating that the moment we were done, we said, you got to come back and be a guest again, because he's absolutely brilliant. He's got some super keen insights. His name is Samson Williams. He's a classically trained anthropologist, finance and public health expert who advises Fortune 100 companies, executives and startups in Dubai, Washington, D.C., Dublin, Ireland. His focus is helping firms understand the latest human trends in fintech, cannabis, alternative investments, blockchain, AI, health, and digital transformation so that they can make some profitable decisions for their bottom line. His company is Axes and Eggs. You actually heard from his partner, Maureen Murat, yesterday on day 2 of Virtual Blockchain Week, and we could not be more thrilled. Your mind is about to be blown by Mr. Samson Williams. Samson, welcome to Virtual Blockchain Week.
Hey, Joel and company. Nice to be here.
Your company, Travis.
I'm just curious, who has the best mohawk in the crypto space, Samson or Rice Crypto?
I'm going to give it to Rice Crypto. And I loved you as Mike Tyson earlier, by the way.
Hey,
Mike Tyson might make another appearance here.
Maybe he'll come in your outro.
Publicly. Yeah.
Awesome,
Samson, you've got some slides, right?
Oh, I do have some slides. I should figure out how to share that, right?
Yeah, just go to your share screen at the bottom and pick the window that your PowerPoint or Keynote is in, and those will pop up on the screen magically. And we're going to turn it over to you right now, good sir, so that you can share your wisdom with our global audience.
Awesome. I guess I'm on right now because Joel has turned off his camera.
You are on. Yeah, just hit the start slideshow thing, and that'll take you so you don't have to show the whole PowerPoint interface.
Okay.
Yeah, where is that? It's under tools, I think, or Where do you do the slideshow thing?
I think it's under view.
Under
yes.
view.
Present.
Oh, present.
There we go. We are masters of technology here, I assure you.
Boom, shakalaka.
Great, great. I'm super excited to be here with the good folks from Bad Crypto. Thank you all for staying bad with us this fine evening. So I'm going to give you a little bit of context because in 2019, I made some predictions for a Blockchain Business Magazine. Shout out to Ross McDonald because he's always doing awesome things. And I'm going to just be honest. Part of that was because I was being greedy, being selfish, and I wanted to buy an apartment building for half off. In order to do that, you have to sort of predict where the market's going to be. So I made a few predictions for 2020. And I guess the biggest prediction is that the time Jeff Bezos bailed out America. So of course, at the time when I made this prediction, it was like, that's the craziest, stupidest thing I've ever heard, Samson. And I was like, maybe not. And just for some historical context, once upon a time in 2008, I was the emergency manager for a small company called Fannie Mae. You might have heard of them. They once tried to ruin the world. And so I started there for 90 days. It lasted 8 years. So I rode that rodeo. I rode that tornado through the 2008 recession there at Fannie Mae, trying to help them get back to business. And so thinking about how cyclical recessions are, I was like, hey, let's do a thing. Let's make a prediction about that time Jeff Bezos bails out America. And I put the time at 2022 for a variety of reasons. If you follow the hashtag 2018 recession, you can see all my rantings about how we're going to be in a recession, how we technically started a recession in Q3 of 2018. We're just now noticing it. I will say that I did not anticipate that we would have a pandemic, but regardless, this is hand grenades, not horseshoes, so I'm pretty close. So I just want to pop out of this for one moment because you can actually see this article. I know they said don't let you see the whole thing, but that's okay. Where is this at? It's right there. Boom. If you go to Blockchain Business Magazine, you can read the whole article. I won't bore you to death with it, but I will summarize it with you very briefly because I think it is important that we talk about this because there is that historical precedent for why Jeff Bezos is going to bail out America and why we in the crypto space really care about this because we're movers, we're shakers, we're disruptors, and this is very important just for your market awareness. So 3 predictions. In 2022, Jeff Bezos bails out America. And of course, the first question is, why would he do that? Well, Amazon just needs customers first and foremost. And if anything, the pandemic has shown us that America needs Prime. You've probably seen their little steel blue Amazon trucks going around delivering whatever things you've ordered, courtesy of this handy dandy mall that's in your hand. And so Amazon is sort of like critical infrastructure. So there's a reason that Jeff Bezos bails out America, not only because he's the richest person on the planet, but also because Amazon needs customers. And so in 2024, Jeff Bezos becomes president, becomes POTUS, President of the United States. Okay, you're like, Samson, that is so crazy. Remember, I wrote this back in December of 2019, but there's historical precedent for that. Part of it is there's a company called Amazon and Microsoft, and they're beefing over this 10 billion contract called JEDI, and that's for cloud services to the Pentagon. And unfortunately, or fortunately for everyone, the president of the United States, Trump 45, him and Jeff Bezos don't always get along. They have a long history of beefing. And so the rumor mill has it that the president intervened on behalf of Microsoft to prevent Amazon from getting this JEDI contract. And they intervened because Jeff Bezos owns a newspaper called the Washington Post. And this gentleman named Jamal Khashoggi, he worked at the Washington Post. He was dismembered. He was killed and dismembered in Saudi Arabia. And you know what? I'm hearing myself talk and it sounds super conspiratorial. So just bear with me. You'll understand how this all comes together. This isn't actually a mohawk. I have a tinfoil hat on top of underneath this. And so Jamal Khashoggi and Crown Prince MBS, they had beef. MBS is Mohammed bin Salman. He's the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia is a staunch ally of the United States. And the Crown Prince MBS is good friends with, depending on the day, good friends with our President Donald Trump. So they have that historical beef, as well as, again, Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post, and the Washington Post is always quoting the president and chiding him. And so there's always been some historical beefs between the two. So you just got to keep that in mind as to why this isn't as crazy a thought as you might think. So as we're popping back over to this, just keep in mind, Amazon needs customers, America needs Prime. There's historical context to be like, why would Jeff Bezos run for president? Because of the Washington Post, the historical beefs with the current president. And what do you do when you're the richest man on the planet? What left is there to talk about at the country club? You got to run for office, of course. So that last and final prediction is that in 2030, Amazon replaces the Federal Reserve. And so we're talking about the Federal Reserve banking system, the Federal Reserve Bank. And of course, it's like, hey, that's crazy, Samson, that makes no sense. But you might be old enough, I don't know if you can zoom in and see my gray hairs. Once upon a time, there was an amazing company called Sears Roebuck. You probably got their catalog, you flipped through it, you got your school clothes, it was the dopest thing out, right? Sears Roebuck. And then one day, this small company called Amazon put a wrap clip, came out into the industry, and it took about 20 years to put Sears Roebuck out of business, but Amazon did a brilliant job of doing that. So much so that many of your listeners don't even know what Sears Roebuck is, but Sears used to be a beast. And why, of course, are we talking about this old, antiquated, gone dead company? Well, when we talk about the Federal Reserve, we have to talk about banking. And so the crazy thing about banking is that banking works best without banks. I was sitting in Dubai and talking to this guy named Ali, of course. He's from the Lebanon. And he asked me, hey, Samson, do you know where the word banking comes from? And I was like, Ali, I have no clue. And so he was saying that the Jewish people used to sit on the river Euphrates to do their business, which was lending money. And so you would go to the banks of the river to get money. And I was like, Ali, that sounds almost like it might be true. And so I give you this context so you understand that banking is a verb. Banks are a noun. Banking, the verb, it works a whole lot better when you get rid of the noun, when you get rid of the institution that is a bank. Banking actually works better on your phone. Most people do actually bank on your phone. Even now, when we talk about, hey, we're going to create digital currencies, 98% of money currency is already digital, particularly if you've got direct deposit or if you got a stimulus check. Well, you probably haven't actually got a stimulus check just yet. But if you had direct deposit, you got your digital monies in there. So what that means is banking works best without banks. And who has better customer service than Amazon? Who could provide you with better banking services than Amazon? So, of course, we want to talk about the historical presidents. And of course, if we're going to say, hey, Samson, you're talking crazy. I don't understand how Jeff Bezos can bail out America. We have to actually go back in our history books. And of course, I welcome you all to fact check me. Get on the Googles, get on the Bings, get on the Yahoos, whatever web engine you use to search, and check out the time JP Morgan, the first time JP Morgan bailed out America in 1883. We're talking about JP Morgan, the man, not JP Morgan Chase, the conglomerate of banks, just JP Morgan, the man. Because at one point, he was the richest person in the US. And so in 1883, JP Morgan bailed out the US. Then again in 1907, JP Morgan pulled out his checkbook and did it again. And it's like, oh, that's so crazy, right? I know, history, it's a beautiful thing. I think Mark Twain said that history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And so there is that historical precedent for a single individual, in this case, Jeff Bezos, to bail out America because it's happened on 3 separate occasions. And the most important occasion is in 1913 when JP Morgan and a few of his other banker friends got together and decided to bail out America. But JP Morgan and his friends, he was on his deathbed at the time, they decided that they'd done this one too many times, right? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. The third time, they're like, we need to create the Owen Glass Federal Reserve Act of 1913. And the Owen Glass Federal Reserve Act of 1913 actually created the Federal Reserve banking system and the Federal Reserve Bank. So actually, much like Sears Roebuck, the Federal Reserve is a 107-year-old startup. It's been around a minute and is looking for someone to disrupt it. And so you're saying, Samson, that is the craziest thing. I'm like, no, Jeff Bezos could bail out America because we're anticipating a full-fledged recession. Again, I was being greedy. I wanted to buy a couple apartment buildings. I've since put that dream on hold because I didn't anticipate a depression. We currently have around 20% unemployment. We're heading towards 30% unemployment. It's very FUBAR. That's really the technical term for our current condition, because we're going to have to figure out how to get back to work. And so we have the historical context where a single person has bailed out America. And so we have the historical context, or the historical beef, for Jeff Bezos to have political ambitions. Excuse me. And last but not least, it is entirely possible that by 2030, Amazon replaces the Federal Reserve. Because here's the crazy thing. When money, our currency, becomes a matter of faith, then it's really a question of who do you have more faith in? The full faith and credit of Uncle Sam, or the full faith and credit of Amazon? Because remember, Amazon needs customers and America needs Prime. And since we're in the crypto space and we're saying, hey, something's going to replace the US dollar, well, what do you think it's going to be? Is it going to be Bitcoin? Is it going to be Dogecoin? By the way, love Dogecoin. This is not an endorsement, do your own research. But if you believe that something will replace the US dollar, because most recently we printed out between $2 and $10 trillion worth of stimulus, but we didn't actually have a plan to pay it all back. So what is going to replace the US dollar? Because right now, faith is just a matter of, money, in air quotes, is just a matter of faith. So will it be Bitcoin? We don't know, but courtesy of our good friends here at, well, we've got to go here first because I made a couple of predictions about China's blockchain strategy. Again, you can fact check all this, go to Blockchain Business Magazine. This is from December 17th. I'm going to read you these 3 bullet points just to drive home this point. China adopting blockchain means nothing for the value of Bitcoin. It means even less for the value of your portfolio. When China launches their national cryptocurrency, they will ban Bitcoin mining and production of mining equipment. It hasn't happened yet, but stay tuned. Our good folks from Cointelegraph are going to tell you why that's possible. And then blockchain is a surveillance state's wildest dreams come true, which is 100% true, particularly if you're China, you want to track all of your transactions. And what better to do that on than a state blockchain, a government issued blockchain. And then last but not least, China will determine 70% or more of the emerging market cybersecurity, encryption, blockchain, and AI adoption via its Belt and Road Initiative. And so China has a Belt and Road Initiative. They kicked it off in 2014. As of January 2020, they'd invested in over 70 plus countries, somewhere between $4 and $8 trillion. It gets a little funky when we try to determine China's investment, but remember, there's a lot of billions in 1 trillion. And so since 2014, they've invested somewhere between $4 and $8 trillion around the world. And when they make those investments, they also bring their surveillance system with them, their state surveillance mechanism. So again, you can read that whole article here on Blockchain Business Magazine. Let me get rid of that. There we go. And so why this is important that we have a little bit of context to China's blockchain strategy. And again, this was written in December of 2019 because I was just on a roll. It brings us up to our favorite Cointelegraph, The Future of Money. I recommend you guys read them because I consume a lot of their information, because of course you want to be up to date. And so this is from April 15th. It's so old, it's already in print. It's 14 days old. China's digital yuan reportedly to test in 4 cities. And so China's already rolling out their digital yuan, or digital currency. Is it a cryptocurrency? I don't know yet. There's not enough information to tell. But remember, when money becomes a matter of faith, and we do believe something will replace the US dollar, why not the digital yuan? Or more importantly, and again, I'm just going to show you this here. You guys get a chance, go to Cointelegraph.com. This came out 4 days ago. In Shenzhen, Shandong, Zhuhou, and Zhaogang, those are the 4 cities that are testing the digital yuan. And it's important to remember this because China appears to be accelerating the development of their digital yuan, notwithstanding the COVID-19 crisis. China's want a lot of soft power. They want a lot of brownie points because yes, the virus did originate in Wuhan. However, China has been at the forefront of providing aid, providing distribution, providing PPE to the rest of the world, because you can get a lot of digital adoption done through a little bit of soft power. Remember when I mentioned the Belt and Road Initiative, where in over 70 countries, they'd invested between $4 and $8 trillion before the virus? Guess what they're doing now? They're strengthening those relationships by providing PPE and rolling out a digital dollar, a digital yuan, because guess what they're going to make loans for the rest of the decade? You're going to get loans from digital, you're going to get loans in your digital yuan in those 70 plus countries in the emerging markets. So this is all very important because again, when money becomes a matter of faith, the question is, what's going to replace the US dollar? Bitcoin, digital yuan, or the Amazon token? Because remember, as we pop right over back here, we had that historical precedent where the Federal Reserve banking system was created. And so we're going to be thinking about what does that look like when Amazon says, hey, everybody, we're Amazon. We provide you with great customer service. You're already a customer of ours. We're going to do the largest ICO in the world where for every $1 US token, we will give you 4 Amazon tokens. So you're going to trade your fiat US dollar for 4 Amazon tokens, and you can buy anything in Amazon's ecosystem with your Amazon tokens. There will be some semblance of blockchain-based digital currency. And remember, when we say Amazon, we don't just mean Amazon. We mean Amazon and the dozen other billion-dollar companies Amazon owns, like Audible, as well as Zappos and a small place called Whole Foods. Amazon already has that ecosystem where you could literally use a token. And when money becomes a matter of faith, the question then becomes, okay, do you have more faith in Uncle Sam, more faith in Bitcoin, or more faith in the digital yuan, or more faith in your Amazon token? So it's going to be a pretty crazy and exciting time because, again, there has been a case where America has been bailed out 3 times. And as Mark Twain said, history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. So I think that's it for me for the moment. We talked a little bit about this on our Coin Genius Wednesdays with Jeremy Bourne and company and the good folks from Bad Crypto, Joe Com, and even Travis. Every time I say Travis's name, I've got to say Go Chiefs, which is a very sad story, but Go Chiefs. We'll talk about that later. So if you have any questions or comments, Joel is smiling. You can follow me on the LinkedIn at Samson Williams, on the Twitters and the internets at Hustle Fund Baby, and just ask me any question you have, and I'm happy to answer them.
My mind is blown. I mean, I had no idea what direction you were going to go with this, but that Travis, say something so you pop up there.
Oh, hello. Yeah. How you like that?
I don't mean to blow your mind, but it's within the realm of possibilities. And last year, everyone I told this to were like, you're nuts. I'm like, it's happened before. And as the circumstances mount up, it's like, yeah, we can see that happening.
I will charge you $1 million for Amazon Prime.
So does that mean you, what do you see for 2020? Do you see Trump winning the election again, or do you see it going to the other side?
I don't know. I think we're going to have a constitutional crisis, honestly. Just once upon a time, Joe, I used to be an epidemiologist for the state of Florida. I'm old as dirt. And so understanding how the disease is transmitted. I wrote an article for my day job called How to Stay Dry in the Rain. And so if you want to stay dry in the rain, you get an umbrella, you might have boots and a raincoat. So right now that umbrella for COVID-19 is social distancing, because COVID-19, it will always be raining COVID-19 until we have a vaccine. So if you want to stay dry in the COVID-19 rain, you should probably social distance. You might also want to wear a rain jacket and some boots, which is covering your cough and washing your hands, right? And so it will be interesting as the states go to reopen. Give us 21 days to see the curve tick back up on the number of infections, because it's not that everyone's going to die, it's that everyone is going to overwhelm our hospital systems. And why this is important and how it relates to your question about the election is because older people are more susceptible, if you lose enough of them, it just creates a sense of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the electoral body, and then they have to go vote. And this is why in this moment, it might be hazardous to their health to vote, and they might be voting for their lives, in which case, what do they do? What do they do?
Yeah, well, it's one of those things too. It's like we look at this and we have countries like Sweden who didn't lock everything down, and they're building towards herd immunity. Now, I have a very close relative who has a PhD in microbiology and virology, and said, yeah, this is it's a tough strain that we're dealing with. But I mean, there's been some cases where America's had 150,000 people die from the flu. Right now, we're at about 50,000 people dying from this thing, and we shut down the economy, treating our Constitution as if it was kind of like, privileges that can be turned on and off. And so I think we are in a constitutional crisis, and I think we're not too far away from some serious craziness if some things don't open back up, because here we are in summertime, and I know it was like almost 80 degrees where I am today, and that temperature alone is going to kill it. So people should probably go outside and not be cooped up in their house all the time, because when you're cooped up in your house, that increases the odds of you actually getting it, because if you're around other people who have it. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing. They said that in 1918, when they had the Spanish flu, the best thing for it was to go outside and get lots of fresh air. But here in America now, if you go outside and getting fresh air, you're getting fined $1,000 or getting tickets or getting arrested in Puerto Rico for going outside.
Not in Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some places going on.
What Joel saw on our regular website, we did a hard pivot. I bought a mask factory because part of it, we bought a mask factory to make facial coverings, because people can't afford to pay $1,000. The other, yes, I have my own right here for the 202.
Mine is more fun. Mine's pizza face.
And so we're going to have a interesting conversation between federalism and states' rights. And so it's a 11th Amendment conversation. And we're going to determine, what size should our government be when we live in a global community where something on the other side of the world literally impacts us. I was talking to my buddy, George Pullen. We're writing a book called Blockchain in the Space Economy.
Love George. Shout out to Georgie.
Right? Shout out to George. And so in blockchain in the space economy, we're talking about what is currency in space? Because once you get up in the space, it gets a little weird. What has value? And so we were talking about how does quarantine work in space? And we decided we would just nuke them. And so it's like, yeah, that's possible, where if you know that there's going to be an outbreak of whatever on some country, because we're aware that the repercussions of letting it go might cost you $6 to $10 trillion. How much does it cost to nuke the place and deal with the fallout later? So again, we're
such a crazy theory, and especially that's one of the things is like, as I know from my relative who works in the space, they're in there tinkering with shit they shouldn't be tinkering with. Like, oh, let's mix this virus over here with this and let's see what it does. Like, ooh, and if it gets loose, then wow, look what breaks out. It's crazy.
It's like Pepsi and Mentos, man. You should not,
things do not belong
together. That is true. That is true. So just keep in mind, if you are in one of those vulnerable populations, it will be raining coronavirus until there's a vaccine. So
and then again, the vaccine might not even work because the thing mutates so quickly that it's not, one vaccine's not going to take care of all of those different strains due to all of those mutations. So
Thanks,
it's going to make
Dr.
some
Travis.
people feel happy.
All right, Dr. Travis.
It's just crazy the way things mutate.
Our resident epidemiologist here, Mr. Travis Wright. Samson Williams, thank you so much for sharing these crazy predictions. We'll definitely revisit in the future and see if
they're not crazy. They're gonna come true. The only thing I was wrong about was the 49ers winning the Super Bowl. That was it. That was it. Everything else I'm spot on.
Oh no, I'm really scared about this one. Then this one kind of bothers me. I don't know what we're gonna do about having President Bezos running the Federal Reserve System or whatever.
I don't know. I wonder if we have that NFT handy that we made. I think I have it right here. So when we had Samson on the show, he was rooting for the Niners, and Travis, being a KC guy, of course, is rooting for the Chiefs. And we released a special non-fungible token to listeners of the show, and Travis designed it, and it looks like this.
There he goes. Yeah, I
You
actually
should be grateful because I had a way dorkier hat on you before because it was really hard to, because most of the hats, whenever they sell them, you know, they take the little side photo of it. So like none of them fit really on your head to look cool. This I had to give you a stocking cap.
Oh, thank you very much. So I honestly, this year I'm for whatever sports is live so I can go to a game. I will root for the Chiefs 110%.
Go Little League.
Yeah.
Yes, go Little League.
Go cricket, something.
All right, Samson, great to see you. Hope to see you at the Friday night VIP after party, my friend.
Likewise. Stay bad, beautiful people.
All
Appreciate you, my
take
man.
care. Boy, that is mind absolutely blown. I've never heard that before. That is such an incredible take. So
he went down some interesting rabbit holes to come to some of those conclusions, and so
he really did. Travis, I want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors for this conference, Splinterlands. This is a cool game that I have played myself. It's a next generation trading card game that allows players the core benefits of both physical and digital card games. Utilizing blockchain technology, gamers can play anytime, trade cards, and earn every time they win. Players have played over, get this, 60 million games, traded over $1 million worth of cards with each other on the secondary market, and they've given out over $100,000 to players directly through tournament prizes. They're routinely ranked #1 on stateofthedapps.com and one of the most successful projects in crypto. It is a cool trading card game. I've played games like Hearthstone before. If you're familiar with Blizzard Entertainment, why play that when you could play this and earn for and actually sell your cards for real world money? Go to splinterlands.com and check it out today. Mr. Travis Wright, we actually have we get a 10-minute break here for us because we have a special guest host that's going to be interviewing our next guest.
Wait, is it the hostess with the mostest?
It is the hostess with the mostest. It's our friend Adrienne Ashley. She was recently nominated as the best female influencer in blockchain and named one of the top 45 over 45, but she definitely doesn't look it. She's an award-winning tech entrepreneur, the founder of Stay Ventures, and she's focusing on teaching family offices and hedge funds the art of blockchain due diligence, and that makes her the go-to expert for investors. And we're going to welcome her now to Virtual Blockchain Week. Ms. Adrienne Ashley, come on down. You're the next hostess with the mostest on the showstest.
Well, hello there. I am very excited to be here.
Excellent.
I feel like I need my pretty background, but it just would not work.
You're pretty enough without it.
Your hair looks amazing.
Thank you. I did it just for you.
Very nice. Thank you.
Would you like to introduce the guest you're going to be interviewing, or would you like me to do it?
I would love to do it.
Go for it.
I am so excited. There is so much opportunity in blockchain, and this guy I feel like has nailed it and figured out the linchpin thing that it's going to take to drive blockchain into the mainstream consumer world. His name is Thomas Carter, and he is the founder of Deal Blocks and Digital Names. And he is going to talk about decentralizing. If you can go, he's going to talk. You got to turn it the other way.
I'm working on it. It's not flipping around here.
There we go. He's going to talk about decentralizing venture capital. And for all of you founders out there, you know how crazy it is trying to get investors to understand the nature of security tokens and what they offer and what benefits they are. So take notes, grab a pen and a piece of paper, because he's going to explain to you a lot of the things that venture capitalists are going to love about this STO market and why he created Deal Blocks. Welcome, Thomas.
Hello. Hopefully you can see me okay. I'm having
a little technical difficulty.
A little challenge here.
Yeah.
We should be more technical. How's everybody doing?
We're all doing phenomenal and super excited. I got a ton of people saying they were excited to hear you. And they really want to know what it is that this Deal Blocks thing is. But I actually want to start a little bit back further. One of the reasons that I am so impressed with you is you're not just a money guy. We know lots of money guys, but they don't understand what it means to be an actual founder and invent something and build something and sell something. And you do, going all the way back to your days in Santa Cruz as a surfer who invented the wakeboard.
Yeah, that was a fun time. Yeah, so I grew up. I'm a native Californian, and I grew up in Santa Cruz, surfing and skateboarding, and got an opportunity to eventually get sponsored and then become a pro. So that it was funny because I was a pro, but there was no money at the time in action sports. But it was a great experience, and I took sort of the action sports industry and my background in surfing and skateboarding. And when I moved from Santa Cruz, I moved to a place called Clear Lake, and there's a lake there. So I there was a scurfer, but the problem with the product, it was like a toy. And so we wanted the board to perform because, we're riders and we want to just make the board. So we developed some technology that allowed us to make the boards more functionable. And that allowed the whole industry to take off. And I eventually wrote my business plan and raised some money and got acquired and took the company public. So it was a great experience innovating products and learning about capital markets as an entrepreneur and taking, ultimately taking the company public. So I got a crash course in capital markets when I took that company public.
And going IPO, that is an expensive and painful process, which actually leads me to the whole idea of deal box. There are a lot of challenges. I teach hedge funds and family offices how to do due diligence in crypto. And one of the things that I love about your process is they don't even get on your platform until there's been a really huge amount, 6 to 8 weeks of due diligence performed on the company to make sure it's actually a real viable company and worthy of being invested in.
Yeah. So interesting enough, what happened was I had a software company. I'll just give you a little bit more backstory so it'll work here. It'll tie in. Yeah. So I had a software company and we were doing a pivot in the technology because we had all the top professional athletes and we had a high profile athlete that had an issue. Anyways, so we had to pivot the company. We had great technology, great platform. And so I needed to raise money for that pivot. And so I focused on putting a comprehensive investment package that would answer all the questions an investor would have. And we wound up getting funded. And then a couple of weeks went by and the funding source that funded us said, hey, we like the way you did your package. Do you mind doing this for us? Right. And so I did 4 deals for them. Yeah. And next thing I know, I'm in the investment packaging capital markets advisory service. And, basically what we do is we take companies through it, like you said, a 8 to 12 week minimum process. But I've been fortunate enough to help over, I think over 400 companies. And as I started to look at different ways to help entrepreneurs, I kept on building technology and automation to try to really create a process, which is deal box, everything you need to do a deal in a box. So we basically take the entrepreneur through this iterative process of asking a lot of information, setting up the data room, capital markets, capital formation, basically looking at the company where it is today, where they want to exit, and then engineer the best capital markets plan, and then provide an institutional level due diligence data room. So day one, that company could be acquired. I think if you're not,
that was you don't understand. I do this. I literally put these things together and make them investable asset, right? Yeah. But the thing, it's like, what do you want to do? How do you want to exit? Because that's going to determine how you form and how you put the package together. And when we do mergers and acquisitions, it's always like, oh my God, I have to do this all over again. Well, if we just do it before they get funded the first time, they're instantly acquirable and so much more valuable. It boosts their valuation huge. I'm so excited.
Day one. I think
day one.
So entrepreneurs are great at making a product and a service, but they don't make their business a product. If you could productize the asset class, you're going to get wider distribution. So we're really looking to create, basically, we want to be the button for advisors and funds and investors to hit for this asset class. And by productizing it, you have all the data sets to go as deep as you want. It's perfect. Then with the blockchain, are you kidding me? So this was we went all in, took a lot of arrows to figure out a lot of stuff out, but really exciting because now what happens is you could program all of this process, AML, KYC, accreditation verification, cap table. It's all done. It's all programmed into the security token. And I hate to use the word token, and it just complicates everything, but it's really a digital issuance We're just taking traditional capital markets and making them frictionless and more compliant and more accessible through the digitization of the process.
And that was what's interesting. I've been telling people for years, if we want to drive this into the mainstream thought process, consumers and investors alike, we have to stop using terminology that's blockchain centric, like wallet and token.
Yeah.
They get those things. Now they do get the security token idea. I was in a room at South by Southwest. I was at a meetup with 30 other major venture capitalists, and they were talking about STOs, and they were a little trepidatious, and they were kind of like, we like it, but then there's talk about why STOs are great. Because I know one of the things that they were really excited about was earlier liquidity, and then also about the being able to make sure that they knew who had it and who owned it, the whole KYC AML. And we only have a couple more minutes, and I really wanted to dive into digital names, so I think I have to have you back. So,
okay, I'm going to go real quick on this. So the benefit of the digital issuance is, so what do investors want? They want to get distribution. They want to get return on investment, right? So, and one of the things that we're doing is we're securitizing the revenue. So if you securitize the revenue, you're going to get a distribution as soon as the company's cash flowing. So you get the benefit value of the security and the distribution. Yep. And this helps the entrepreneur because he might not have to give up as much equity at this stage. So it helps the investor, it helps the investor with what they want, it helps the issuer with what they want. And I wanted to give you an example about digital names because that's one of our leading companies, and we just completed a $2.5 million. Are you there? Sorry about that.
quick.
So we just completed a $2.5 million Series A. We're halfway into the Series A round, but this company I think has a lot of potential. It's basically GoDaddy for the blockchain. So instead of the long alphanumeric key, it's just $ your name. And it's 1995, and it works across all the different top cryptocurrencies. So all you need is one name for Bitcoin, one name for Ethereum. Once it's $ your name, it works across the top 200 cryptocurrencies.
No more 26 hexadecimal keys. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what is going to drive blockchain into the mainstream. That is the solution we've been waiting for. I want to thank you, Mr. Thomas Carter of DealBox. You are amazing. Your product is awesome. You and I are going to have way more conversations later. Everybody, if you want to find Mr. Thomas Carter, go Google DealBox blockchain.
Or thomascarter.io.
thomascarter.io. You can get
digitalnames.io.
digitalnames.io. And that is all the time that I have for you tonight.
Thank you guys.
Thank you
really
so much.
Appreciate it.
Great to see you, Thomas. It's been a while.
Good to see you guys. Hey, good to see you.
Thank you both. Take care.
Thank you.
Guys.
Bye.
Great job, guys.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Cool. Wow. That's Mr. Travis, right? That's where you're supposed to say interesting.
You know what? I got to tell you this. So Chris Pulley, my business partner with CCP Digital, we've known Thomas Carter since I don't know how long Pulley's known him, but I've known him since 2013. And it's just so wild how he's been in crypto doing all this stuff. And we've yet to have him on the show in any form until right now. That was a big faux pas on our parts. He's got a great brain on
unfold that paw.
There we go. Great job, Chris Pulley, getting him on the show. Smart dude. Great resource for folks. Dealbox.io.
Dealbox. There you go. All right. We've got our next guest ready to come on and share a seriously compelling story. We had her on Bad Crypto here just a couple months ago, and her name is Cherie Aimee. She's a transformational leader, humanitarian writer, and global speaker, exploring the intersection between advanced technology and humanity. She's an advisor to the World Ethical Data Forum and ambassador to New York Presbyterian Hospital and Columbia University Medical. She attained worldwide attention for making a miraculous recovery from a near-death experience in which doctors could not resuscitate her for over 90 minutes. Yes, you heard me right. An hour and a half of no activity, pretty much dead. But she's back, and we have the proof because she's here with us today. Cherie Aimee, welcome.
Hello. How are you, Joel?
Good. Good to see you.
You too. Where's Travis? Is he around? There he is.
I'm not around. I don't know where he is. He's probably slacking off.
He's sleeping.
Yeah, taking a nap. A guy. Great to have you. Thank you for agreeing to be part of this virtual shindig.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm honored to be alongside so many amazing people on blockchain. This has been a fantastic event, and kudos to you guys for doing this to help raise money for COVID-19. This is absolutely amazing. And you guys put this together so quickly. And it's just, I'm so impressed with the level of detail and professionalism, really.
Well,
Great
thank you.
job.
We appreciate that. And we're into shindiggery. That's, that's part of our thing. Now we know your story because we've gone into it in depth on the show, but why don't you go ahead and give a quick overview of exactly what you experienced?
Yeah, so talking about my near-death experience, or
well, it's so compelling. It's so amazing. I mean, this is not the type of story you hear every day.
yeah. So this kind of leads up into how I got involved with blockchain. But so I was a tech founder 10 years ago, and everything was going well. I had a lot of clients. I had about 20 people working for me, and I ended up flatlining out of the blue one day, cardiac arrest. And
no warning signs? Like it just came on?
It came on pretty much within like 3 weeks. So I had trouble breathing for about 3 weeks, but I kind of looked fine and I looked healthy. So it just went over everyone's head. Like nobody caught that my heart was failing. So yeah, so it's really it was a life-shattering event. So I basically crashed. Thankfully, I was in the emergency room. Doctors were literally unable to resuscitate me for over 90 minutes. They never got my heart to restart. And so thankfully, though, by a miracle, I was taken down to New York Presbyterian Hospital in New York City, where I underwent several open heart surgeries, life support for about 3 months, and ended up spending 5 years after that on a bionic heart. And 5 years ago today, I received a heart transplant. So that's the condensed, crazy.
Happy anniversary.
Yes, thank you. Do you know I missed it this year? I mean, every year I celebrate, and this year is my 5-year. And
celebrate with you.
Thank you.
There's thousands of people rooting you on right now.
Woohoo! So here I am. I spent the last 5 years pretty much just rebuilding a life for myself, reinventing myself. And I had lost my tech firm just in the whole drama of it all, and spent many years in rehabilitation. And so when I came back, I was still pretty disabled. So I just kind of learned about the latest in, tech apps and all this stuff, and created a brand online for myself that grew pretty quickly. And I've just since been able to do so many things with my platform, with my voice. And one of the things I've been able to do is just bring value to blockchain and to all of you guys, and really kind of use my voice more in the, I'm not a programmer anymore, but I tend to use my voice now for the storytelling, bringing on more of that humanitarian element to it, so that more people, more of the masses can actually understand just kind of what's going on. Because a lot of people see and they hear about blockchain, they hear about cryptocurrency, but it can be very, very overwhelming. I mean, especially when you're new to it, it's extremely overwhelming. And it was for me too, even though I'd come from a tech background. Like for me, this was completely something new. I was never a day trader. I was never really into stocks or any of that stuff. So I really needed to kind of use a different part of my brain to absorb and really be able to visualize more of the, complex technical elements of it. And that was just done through lots and lots of reading and watching events, similar to this, although nothing of this, caliber, but it really was about staying up late. Sometimes I would watch some of these summits that were taking place in maybe Taiwan, and here I am in the US, and I would stay up till like 4 a.m. just listening and taking notes and learning. And it's funny because after about 6 months or so of doing that every day, you start to realize, hey, I think I know a little bit more than your average person by now. And so that just kind of, I think that mixed with my brand that had already been building just kind of led me into blockchain. And here I was, I found myself back in the tech world after, this incredible health crisis that I had. And I don't know, it felt so good. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it other than, when you have like a life altering event like that, such as a pandemic, but to have, your whole life stripped from you overnight, and to lose your business, to lose the career that you had like your whole life, that did something to me, and I think kind of coming back into technology and meeting all the incredible people in blockchain and the enthusiasm, right? Like it describes everyone in blockchain and crypto is that we're really passionate about the topic. We're passionate about what the technology can do, and we're passionate about changing the world, right? So for me, it kind of was a nice re-entry back into the tech space, but it took me a while to really figure out where I could best bring value. So for a while there, I was behind the scenes of a blockchain startup for supply chain logistics. And there I learned a lot about supply chains and how that all works and the logistics of it, some of the issues that they currently have in, tracking and tracing goods that are shipped all over the world from China to the US. We're kind of getting a glimpse of that right now with the shortage in personal protective equipment, PPE, and the masks, right? So people are starting to understand. Maybe you didn't understand about supply chain before the pandemic, but the pandemic is really shining a light on parts of society, our financial sector, technology, and supply chain, and where those weaknesses are. And one of the benefits of blockchain that I grew to learn was that blockchain can be a really essential resource and source of security, being able to track shipments, being able to hold companies accountable for either missing goods along the way, or even middlemen that are marking up those in-between fees as you're going from like shipper to shipper or supplier to shipper. So there's so many benefits alone in blockchain. And then I started learning about how it's really also allowing more people access to banking, even in developing countries. And so that really, really sparked my attention as well.
I have a question for you, Cherie.
Yeah.
What, you talk about now it's all about storytelling for you, right? Who is your, ideal avatar? Who are you really looking to speak to bring blockchain to the world?
I could tell you I've spoken to top level CEOs, C-suite, definitely executive leadership. So I've spoken all over the world, thankfully. So I've got that experience, but I also can speak to like your average person that really doesn't know anything about technology and really can't wrap their brain around blockchain. So I think one of the benefits for me, and I've kind of always had that skill set where I understand technology more than I sound like someone that is like a programmer, and I've always been like that my whole life. It's same with languages. Like I can pick up a language very quick, and I can understand, but I may not be able to like respond, unless I'm really, really studying the exact terminology. And so I think when I was kind of younger adulthood, building my own tech company and just being a programmer in the field, I thought it was like a fault of mine that I didn't really walk around sounding, very, very technical, yet I was always one of the top programmers on the team and only female. But I think I've grown to realize that that's a skill that I have, is that I can listen and learn to really complex ideas in science, medicine, and technology. But then once I've learned it, I can disseminate that information out through storytelling, through, facts that people can grasp and not lose you in the technical lingo. So I'm probably more, I love being that role, kind of like that in-between role where I get to be, on media outlets, and I get to write articles and really share the storytelling and the human element behind it all.
That's beautiful. And I think that's a great segue for, let's talk about the spiritual element, right? Because so you were on the other side for like what, 90 minutes. You could not be resuscitated. Yeah. So my grandfather, he had passed away, and he had a past life kind of a deal, and then he came back, and then he was like, he was adamant about, man, it was completely dark, I didn't see anything, and so he was very frightened of death. And I know that whenever we had a conversation, and then there's other people that's had different experiences and different sort of perspectives on what that is like. So in that 90 minutes, when you were not physically alive, according to medicine, what were you experiencing? And did you experience any sort of thing that just made you go, wow, this is a definitive yes, there is this on the other side?
Yeah, I mean, I clearly had a near-death experience, and that's one of the aspects that helped me grow my brand. Is I had a very unusual near-death experience. Number one, it was due to cardiac arrest. So there was medical records indicating, that I was clinically dead, no heartbeat, for many hours. So that's number one. And number two, I had all these signature signs of a near-death experience. So a near-death experience is usually determined by like 5 main elements. Forgive me, I forget all of them, but one of them is like, you saw the light. The next one is like you had a life review. Another one is like you made a decision whether or not you wanted to come back. So I definitely had all of those. But what was most mind-blowing about the experience was there were a couple key things that stand out in my journey to the afterlife, whatever you want to call it. And that's that. Number one, I remember the minute I crossed over. So I literally remember almost as if I was just thrown into like another room, and I instantly knew I had died. And I just remember thinking, like, the first words in my head were, wow, that was so easy, because my whole life, and for many people, like, we're terrified of death. We're terrified of the unknown, right? Very similar to the air right now with the pandemic. It's like this fear of uncertainty, this fear of, am I going to die? Right? Like, that's such a deep fear for so many people. And what I learned in crossing over was I wasn't alone. I mean, I immediately was greeted by what I call my guides. They had surrounded me. They had protected me from the moment I crossed over. So like now I absolutely know that anybody who crosses over, they are not alone. Like, we are not alone. And the other thing is that I consciously remember just feeling like the weight of all my burdens just lifted off my shoulders. And so I remember initially wanting to stay there, like not wanting to come back, because I felt so much love and like connection to all things. And then I remember I experienced a very, very long lifetime review. So I went through like all these different crazy lives, like other lives that my soul had lived. It was so wild, but I learned so much through that. The lessons I walked away with really helped me in, number one, making the decision at the end of my life review saying, I choose to come back. I choose to come back here and face my shadows head on and like clear them, because I knew now like there's answers to like how life was connected and why certain people had come into my life and why certain things had happened and why life was playing out the way it was. And it's so fascinating for me because I came back with this brand new, you know, I still had all the trauma to my body, years of rehabilitation, but on the spiritual side, I came back with such like almost like a baby with brand new eyes. Everything in the world felt so vibrant, so new, such a blessing. Like the gratitude was overwhelming. And so I think when, even now, like when I speak and when I talk, even if it's about technology, people always say like, it doesn't matter what you're talking about. We always feel your heart. And I really think that that came from what I just witnessed. Like we were all connected in the afterlife. We were all one, you know, it's
kind of like an eternal blockchain, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Well, Cherie, on that note,
yes.
that's a really great high note to end our interview. And
Yeah.
thank you for coming and sharing and inspiring. Where would you like people to connect with you?
You can definitely visit my website. You can go to CherieAimee.com. That's CherieAimee.com.
Fantastic.
Certainly feel the love. Thank you so much. That was great.
Thank you guys.
Great speaking with you again.
Absolutely. And big shout out to Erin for all her work as well.
Yes, she's behind the scenes there. Thanks, Cherie.
Yes. All right. Bye, guys.
Take care.
Yep.
If for those who don't know, Erin is our producer and making sure that the show happens and that this event is happening. She's probably a little frenetic because there's just so much activity going on, but we appreciate her and the whole team, really. I mean, Travis and I get to be the monkeys with the microphone, but the team that helps put this together is super amazing. And so thank you to all of you that are doing that. Travis, would you like to bring in our next guest?
I would love to. So I met this guy, I think, about 3 years ago, maybe even a little bit longer than that. I think about 3 years ago. We were having some conversations around, you know, how great it would be if we could sort of pull interesting points of data all into one place. I said, interesting, you need a drink. And pull in all this, have this gap between the legacy data that's out there and all this new real world digital asset data sort of become the new Bloomberg terminal, right? So most people who are in the stock market, they know the Bloomberg terminal. They use that on a daily basis, but it doesn't include all this cool digital asset stuff. And so the brilliant Jeremy Bourne, he built a team and they created this thing called Coin Genius. And he is with us now. How are you doing, good sir?
Good. How are you?
Doing amazing. Thank you so much. Going to be talking about democratizing data for a digital economy.
Yes, sir. Excited. Thank you guys. Just want to start off by saying thank you guys for putting this on. This incredible content, some of the best and most influential people in the space. It's pretty amazing what you guys were able to do and coordinate this, and you guys are running the whole thing. So it must be pretty tiring.
Well, you know, during this time, the adrenaline's going, right?
Yeah.
It's when it's all over that it's like, okay, we're gonna do it again tomorrow.
Yes, at about 10:30 Eastern time, I'm gonna sit in my chair and I'm just gonna chill, and it's gonna be you know what? I actually slept for 10 hours last night because my brain was so exhausted.
So let's talk a little bit about data, because what you guys do at Coin Genius is you analyze all the data. And if you're going to be a trader, that's important, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How we look at it is the following, which is, you know, blockchain and crypto still, you know, 10, 11 years old, right? So this is still brand new at the end of the day. You know, this is not capital markets. This isn't equities and, you know, trading stocks. This is a brand new world, and there's not a lot of infrastructure there yet. It's getting there, but overall, we still have a long way to go. So for the average person that's coming into the space, it's really important that we empower them with the highest quality data possible, so that they can make more educated decisions based on data. And our idea is to hopefully take the emotion out of trading, which you can never do fully. However, if we can empower them with good data, then I think they have a standing chance.
And that's great because you guys are pulling data from all kinds of sources. And you have this visualizer that we saw when we were in Vegas. You popped up this 3D visualizer that's showing in real time, like, here's the buys, here's the sells, here's the big wall. Then all of a sudden you see some whale come in and just, and you see this huge wall coming up and you're like, what? This is amazing. So, and I think the tools like that, the visualization of that is something that really can be impactful and help, guide maybe some of your trading. And so let me ask you this, how is Coin Genius, looking to help the industry grow and gain adoption?
Yeah, sure. So as I said, we're wanting to aggregate the top 10% of all the data in the space, right? And then that coupled with, like you said, strong visualization. So, you need to make an interface that's very easy for anybody to understand. So, any visualization on the site has to tell a story and convey what that image means within 3 seconds of somebody looking at it, right? To capture their attention. So if I'm a random person coming on, even like going to Coinbase, right? You can see, it's a very easy user experience. You can understand the price of Bitcoin very easily. But outside of that, if you're an average person that has nothing to do with crypto and know nothing about it, do you really know what to do from there, or where to navigate, or what the coins mean? Bitcoin Cash. Well, what's Bitcoin Cash? So my whole point is we need to democratize the data in such a way to where it's not only a strong visual experience, but also an educational experience that leads people down a specific path so they can learn along the way, because not everybody is a crypto expert. Yes, maybe at this conference, most people are, but the average person still is foraying into the space, and we need to really help empower them with better experiences.
Yeah, so we're going through a really interesting time right now, obviously. And as you're evaluating data related to the COVID-19 shutdown and the economic, situation that it is, what do you think that is going to happen on the other side of this after businesses do open up, economically speaking?
Yeah. So, I always like to position myself as the least intelligent guy in the room at any given time. So I try to surround myself with
No,
geniuses.
that's me. I'm sorry.
There you go.
You can't have that right now.
I concur. I was going to say Joel, but I don't want to be.
It's me.
So with that said, I don't think I'm a stupid guy by any stretch of the imagination. So you can imagine some of the folks on my team, and you guys know them personally. Samson Williams spoke earlier, which is part of the Genius Network, the extended network of people that we've kind of custom curated and brought into this, Genius fold over the last 2.5, 3 years to find the brightest and most intelligent folks, not only in crypto and blockchain, but in other markets. The conference that we just held had people that were all over the place, regulators, people were doing the regulatory stuff around crypto, people that were fighting on the front lines of COVID-19 that are medical professionals. So just trying to look at it from all angles. And collectively, what I think the team internally, as well as our advisors and the people in the Genius Network collectively are saying is that we agree that there is an inherent problem underneath all of this COVID stuff. This is terrible. Yes, people are dying. Obviously new studies are coming out in terms of, how significant this virus is and really what the death rate may truly be versus what I think we all thought it might have been. But at the end of the day, I think there's some economic struggles that we're facing that were exacerbated by the COVID-19 crisis. And that is going to be really hard to rebound from, right? I think we're injecting a tremendous amount of money because there's really no other option, right? You have to inject money. Otherwise, you go through a massive cleansing, which I think the cleansing is going to happen regardless of how much money we put into the economy. But at the end of the day, the average person is suffering right now, right? And not even just from the virus, but economically they're suffering. I have people that I know firsthand that have gone from having pretty significant jobs, right? Where they're making their rent, they're paying bills, they're doing okay in life. And then all of a sudden, within 2 days, they're on food stamps, right? Literally, that is the impact that people are experiencing based on, having to stay at home and not being able to operate a normal business. So I think on the other side of this, obviously, you hear it over and over again, fundamentally, we're going to have to change the way in which we approach business. There's, a tremendous amount of opportunities, and CoinGenius sees plenty of those to connect people just like you guys are doing right now, connecting people that so desperately have a thirst for connecting with others that otherwise, in the real world and the world we used to live in, we could go to a conference. We could say hello, you know, I could shake your hand. That's not the world we live in anymore. You know, I think there's going to be a steep learning curve for how to refactor certain businesses that were literally built around in-person and person-to-person interaction. That's just not going to be there. So if you don't change, it's going to be a very Darwinian moment, and, you know, the strongest are going to survive. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out.
So true. You just said interesting. Now everybody has to drink.
Nice.
So tell us about what Coin Genius has coming up, and tell us how can folks participate in those Wednesday Coin Genius magical sessions that happen each week.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're working on quite a few different things here. Our main focus right now is creating a tremendous amount of content. So as I alluded to, we have a tremendous amount of geniuses that are very interesting. I had to say that because I wanted to see if you guys would drink. There you go. These people bring a lot to the table. And one of the things that you're talking about is Genius Wednesday. So that's a lot of our content. That was internal only for a while, and now we're opening that up to the public. So you can go to coingenius.ai and find out more about that. Reach out to us. That's going to be opened up to the masses in the next week or so.
And I think, aren't you guys, you're hosting an after event here? Is it tomorrow night?
So we're doing one tonight and one tomorrow night at 7 p.m. So please join us. It's the networking party after. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting things happening, a lot of really cool analytics that we're about to release. And we also have our own summit, Collective Intelligence. The second one will be at the end of June. So look out for that as well. But really excited to be here, and thank you guys for the opportunity.
Excellent. Thanks, Jeremy. I'm just checking our agenda to see if we've got linked to your event tonight. I don't see it there. So maybe if the team could let us know where we can send people, we'll give a shout out. So if people want to join you later tonight, we'll do that. So,
okay. Absolutely.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Thank you, Mr. Bourne. Appreciate you, brother.
You too. Bye.
Take care. All right. Jeremy Bourne.
I had to turn my standing desk down, and now I'm sitting.
I am standing. In fact, I'm doing this whole thing standing. I've been on my feet for days. I've not yet sat down. I'm just kind of glued.
I'm sitting down right now. So
no,
just so you know,
I'm gonna stand right here.
I feel very comfortable.
Let's bring on our next guest, and actually a partner for us, because she is not only a reporter for Cointelegraph, a public speaker, but she is also the host of the Crypto Chick, our sister podcast at Bad Crypto. And she's had over 10 years of experience writing about tech, covering blockchain and crypto space since 2017. And she's currently writing a book on the enterprise blockchain. Her name is Rachel Wolfson, and we're going to welcome her right now to Virtual Blockchain Week. Hello, Rachel.
Hi, Joel.
Say hi to Travis too. It hurts his feelings.
Yeah, here's my feeling when I get ignored.
Hi, Travis. How are you guys?
Excellent. You look lovely, as does your background there, like wherever it is you're staying. Very nice.
Thank you. Yep, in the Bay Area.
Perfect.
Somewhere in the Bay Area.
Yes. I know you've got a short talk you want to provide us with, and I've actually got your slides right here, and I will be your slide slave here. So you just tell me when to click, and I will do so.
Okay, great. So yeah, I guess I'll just start off by giving an introduction about my presentation and about myself. So my presentation is entitled A Journalist's Perspective of the Blockchain Industry. And before I go into the presentation, I'll just, for those of you who don't know who I am, I'll give some background. My name is Rachel Wolfson, and I'm a reporter with Cointelegraph. I've been writing about the blockchain and cryptocurrency space for over 3 years now. Since 2017, I've been writing about the space, and I've been with various publications. So I started with Huffington Post in 2017. My first article focused on blockchain for supply chain management. And I found it fascinating that this technology powering Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies could also be applied in, the real world. So I think that's really what caught my attention with blockchain, was the fact that I, thought Bitcoin was great, and the fact that the technology could be applied elsewhere, which I still think is really cool. So from Huffington Post, I ended up becoming a staff writer at Bitcoin Magazine in December 2017. I connected with an editor
at Bitcoin Magazine when I was at my first Bitcoin conference in Hong Kong, right before Bitcoin hit its all-time high in December 2017. And then around February 2018, I became a contributing writer for Forbes. And I was with Forbes for about 2 years. March 2018, I also joined the Bad Crypto podcast as a podcast host for the Crypto Chick Show. So I am a part of the Bad Crypto crew. I'm really proud of that and I really enjoy doing the podcast. And then in November 2019, I became a reporter with Cointelegraph, where I am currently still writing and loving every minute of that. So that's kind of my journey into the space with different publications. And yeah, so far so good. So great. So with that in mind, I will just kind of tell you guys a little bit about my experience in the space for the time that I've been in. Joel, if we can go to I think it starts with 2017, the slide about the ICO craze, and then it kind of is a timeline. Yeah, great, thank you. So when I first started reporting about the space, it was 2017, and ICOs were really cool back then. People weren't really interested in the technology as much as they were about, cryptocurrency and this new fundraising method called initial coin offerings. Keep in mind, Bitcoin did hit its all-time high in December 2017. So when I first entered the space, it was really all about crypto. It was all about ICOs and raising money and these cryptocurrency startups, emerging and people fundraising through, Bitcoin and Ethereum and all of that. So it was really starting to gain hype in 2017. Interestingly enough, after Bitcoin hit its all-time high in December 2017, it reached almost $20,000 for one Bitcoin. Enterprises started to get interested in the space. At least that's what I think, from my perspective, I started seeing in 2018, the emergence of enterprise blockchain. And I don't know if it was because Bitcoin really hyped up the space and people started realizing, oh, blockchain can be used as, a technology for real world applications. I'm not really sure why 2018, enterprises started getting interested in that, but that's what I saw. So enterprise blockchain emerged in 2018. When I say enterprise blockchain, some of you might be wondering, what does that mean? So let me explain that to you. So enterprise blockchain is basically enterprises leveraging blockchain as a technology for real world applications. So for instance, IBM blockchain, one of my, I report on them a lot and I really like the team there. So IBM blockchain is really doing a lot in terms of using the technology to power really interesting real world applications. For instance, IBM's Food Trust Network. The Food Trust Network has nothing to do with cryptocurrency whatsoever, but it's completely powered by the IBM blockchain network, which is powered by Hyperledger Fabric, which is a private permission blockchain. And so what that allows people to do, it allows the network participants to track and trace food directly from its source, like the farm, all the way to the retailer and sometimes to the consumer. So the Food Trust Network is super interesting because it's using blockchain to show consumers like myself, like you guys, where your food comes from. And that's all powered by blockchain, powered by Hyperledger Fabric, private permission network, which, let me explain this to you guys, it's different than the Bitcoin blockchain. The Bitcoin blockchain is an open public blockchain network. A private permission network, such as Hyperledger Fabric, it's closed to the network participants. It's still open in some ways, but for the most part, the information remains closed. If a network participant wants to see information, that information can usually be requested. Although everything is recorded on a transparent network, it's just not as open like the Bitcoin network is. So a lot of enterprises choose to use private permission networks because it keeps their information private, yet they still have that transparency and information is still recorded on the ledger. So you can see all of those transactions. You can see that, an avocado was grown in this farm and then it was sent to, wherever they get sent. and then it was sent to the grocery store, and then it was sent, or then you bought it, and you can actually see sometimes that entire transactional chain, just because blockchain is powering that. So 2018, enterprise blockchain emerged. Super cool. I became even more interested in that because, you know, for me, a consumer, someone who's very conscious about where their food comes from and where other things come from, blockchain is really all about transparency, immutability, and it's not just for the companies leveraging it, but it's also for the consumers as well. So I'm going to get into another really interesting use case about that coming up, and that's actually using a public blockchain for enterprise blockchain. So I hope you guys are still following me. I'm just going to jump into 2019 now. So in 2019, what I started seeing as a journalist covering the space was the emergence of security tokens and regulations. So I'll start by speaking about regulations. So if you think about the space, 2017, really a lot about ICOs, cryptocurrencies. 2018, the major players like IBM, Oracle, Salesforce, they start leveraging blockchain as a technology. 2019, regulations come into play. Why? Because mainstream adoption is starting to happen. And you know, that's just what happens when mainstream adoption occurs. Regulations come into place. So what do I mean by regulations? I mean that cryptocurrency and taxes start gaining some traction. Now, everybody that makes transactions using digital currencies has to report that for their taxes. And we started really seeing that, you know, occur in 2019. I think that, you know, laws were being passed saying that, you know, we're going to have to start reporting cryptocurrency transactions on our taxes. Another thing that started happening in 2019 was something similar to the Bank Secrecy Act, which is, and I actually learned about this, I'm looking at some notes here, at a Cipher Trace conference in 2019. The Financial Action Task Force guidelines came about, which explained how digital assets should be regulated. So what that meant, it's known as the travel rule, and that requires regulators and virtual asset service providers, which are cryptocurrency exchanges, to collect and share personal data during transactions. Now, this guideline is very similar to the Bank Secrecy Act, and we started seeing that emerge in 2019. So that's another example of a regulation on top of the whole crypto tax thing. Also, interestingly enough, and I've reported on some stories about this, crypto taxes, when they started gaining traction, which actually they still are right now, but like big firms like Thomson Reuters, they're involved with some of the crypto tax side of things. So we're seeing a lot of, you know, larger firms also getting into this space in terms of regulations, which is pretty interesting. So now I'll chat a little bit about the security side of things. So interestingly enough, I first heard the term STO, which is a security token offering, in the summer of 2018. I was fortunate enough to go to a polymath roundtable in Barbados, which was all about STOs. And at that time, I actually still confused STOs with ICOs. And it was really embarrassing because we were all having this roundtable discussion about STOs, and I really didn't get it. I was like, STO, ICO, like, what's the difference? So anyways, that was 2018, super early for STOs. 2019, we're really we started seeing more STOs emerge. So basically, STOs are when investors receive tokens for funding projects, and those tokens are backed by real world assets like stocks, bonds, or real estate. So rather than ICOs, which are, you know, backed by tokens like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and there were a lot of scams associated with ICOs, it's really unfortunate. STOs are backed by real world assets. Interestingly enough, we also have been seeing real estate security tokens gain traction. I was just reading a wonderful Cointelegraph article about this, that real estate security tokens make up 14.5% of total trade in tokenized securities. So pretty interesting. I see a lot of potential for tokenized real estate transactions and all of that. So yeah, 2019, regulations and securities. Finally, 2020 happens, the best year ever so far, right? Anyways, and so in my opinion, in 2020, what we start seeing are the serious players remaining in the space. So a lot of the ICOs that were, scammy, whatever, a lot of those bad actors kind of disappeared. 2020, we still see really great projects and real world innovation happening. IBM Blockchain, Oracle, Salesforce, VeChain, Real Items Foundation, what they're doing. I mean, just so many more companies that, I don't want to drop so many names, but you guys get the point. These are serious players using blockchain for real world applications to provide transparency, immutability, accountability, everything that a blockchain ledger provides that a normal database simply can't. I mean, when it comes to transparency, blockchain is really the way to go, which is why supply chain management for blockchain is one of the most interesting use cases. And I write a lot about that. Okay, current state of blockchain. I know I think I have a few minutes left, but I'll just talk about some of the most interesting stories that I've covered lately. So I'm going to start off by talking about VeChain's public blockchain. VeChain is a public blockchain. It's different than Hyperledger Fabric or, IBM Blockchain, which is powered by Hyperledger Fabric. That's private permission. VeChain is public, it's open, and interestingly enough, it's being leveraged by Real Items Company to trace and ensure that KN95 masks are authentic. Right now, obviously, there's a huge shortage of medical supplies with COVID-19 happening. And Real Items Company is leveraging VeChain's blockchain to ensure that these products are authentic by having all those transactions with the company that they're working with put on the VeChain ledger to show consumers, once they get those masks, they can actually scan a barcode and see, oh, this mask was produced in this factory, and it is a legitimate KN95 mask, as opposed to the fake ones, which actually there's a lot of fake KN95 masks out there and other products that come from China that are fake. So VeChain's public blockchain is really incredible, especially for this use case, which I'm extremely interested in learning more about. Another interesting use of blockchain that we're seeing today are voting systems, blockchain-based voting systems. For instance, votes, I know that they've been leveraged. I think they were just leveraged in the Utah election, but they've also been used in the West Virginia election. And it's just a blockchain-based voting system, meaning that you can do this on your mobile phone. You can vote. Everything gets recorded to the ledger. I'm not sure which if it's their own blockchain or if they're leveraging another network, but everything gets recorded. Votes are sent in. You can make sure that your vote actually counts because it's a transparent process. So I think we're going to start seeing blockchain-based voting systems emerge, especially this year with COVID-19. Keep in mind, while blockchain-based voting systems provide more transparency because it's a blockchain network, they are not more secure than just regular internet-based voting systems. Blockchains really in this use case simply provide transparency. So a lot of people think, oh, well, blockchain networks might be more secure. No, that's not the case. At least that's what I've been told. That's what I think. Maybe somebody is going to disagree. Who knows? Anyways, another interesting use case of blockchain today, and a lot of this has to do with COVID-19 because that's just kind of the situation we're in, but it's being leveraged to provide trusted COVID-19 data. So like there's a platform, it's called MiPasa. They're leveraging IBM's blockchain network to provide trusted COVID-19 data for health officials. Basically, they've partnered with a bunch of organizations that provide that data, including the World Health Organization, which is pretty unbelievable. That data is getting uploaded to IBM's blockchain network. And, you know, just through the transparency and data analytics, it's not just blockchain in this case, data analytics plays a big role. MiPasa's network is ensuring that that data is actually correct, accurate, and that it can be trusted. Once that data has been confirmed that it is legitimate data, then they send that out to health officials and they can, make use of that. But there's a lot of misinformation right now. So in this case, blockchain and data analytics really does help. Let's see here. Actually, I don't have this one on my slide, but this is something that I covered, just a few days ago. IBM's blockchain network, they have, it's the Rapid Supplier Connect network. It's built on IBM blockchain. And basically what that's doing is it's leveraging blockchain technology to connect buyers, buyers as in hospitals, to non-traditional PPE suppliers. So non-traditional PPE suppliers, meaning like a clothing company making masks for COVID-19. So a lot of the times these hospitals need to be connected to these new non-traditional suppliers. And what the Rapid Supplier Connect network is doing is it's using blockchain to connect hospitals to clothing companies, for example, that are making masks. And all of those transactions, everything is reported on the blockchain. There's digital identity that's being leveraged. I forget who's dealing with that, but digital identity is being leveraged there to ensure that all the players on the network are legitimate, good actors, to ensure that products aren't fake. So I think that the Rapid Supplier Connect network is a really good use of blockchain today as well. Let's see here. So basically, overall, I think that blockchain as a technology in the real world really brings transparency, immutability, accountability to networks or to industries actually that lack that. So for instance, the supply chain is a complicated system. A lot of those supply chains lack transparency, and blockchain can help solve that. So in my opinion, blockchain for supply chain management is one of the best use cases. Blockchain for voting is another great use case. Joel, how are we doing on time? Are we okay, or am I just blabbering now?
Well, you're not blabbering. It's all good stuff, but we do need to wrap it up because we've got our keynote.
Okay, sure. So anyways, I'm sure everybody gets the point. Blockchain has really come a long way since 2017, when it was basically this kind of sketchy space filled with ICOs, cryptocurrency, this and that. And now it's being leveraged by the World Health Organization to track COVID-19 data. We've come a long way in 3 years. It's amazing. So I'll just wrap up by saying, a lot of people that have read my articles might be interested in how to pitch a journalist like myself. So I'm going to say something really important. Oops, that's my timer.
It's time.
That's my timer. But just know what the journalist beats are. I'm Enterprise Blockchain. I love that. I like to write about that. You can reach out to me on Twitter at RachelWolf00, email, LinkedIn, follow up if I don't get back to you. I'm very friendly and responsive. And that's it. Thanks, Joel.
I can vouch for that. You are friendly and responsive.
Thank you. And I hope I wasn't blabbering on and on, but
no, not at all. It's all good. You are neck deep in this stuff every day, and you get to speak to the movers and shakers who are doing it. So we appreciate your input.
Thank you, Joel. And I appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing.
You did what you did and you rocked it. So thank you so much for that.
Thanks, Travis.
I remember meeting you way back in the day when you were just starting your writing journey.
Yeah.
How you have grown. That's awesome. So great to see you blossom. Amazing work. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, Rachel.
Bye.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to get into our closing keynote here in just a moment. First, want to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors, MobiPay. They are the universal payment ecosystem that lets consumers make a secure fiat and digital currency payments worldwide from a mobile phone in seconds. I've used it. It's fast. There's an integrated reward and payment token called the MobiCoin that connects fiats and digital currencies directly to a global retail marketplace so that you can get cash back on purchases, right? It works with dirty fiat. Why can't it work with crypto as well? The idea is to get rewarded for the purchases that you make. And if you sign up for their beta now, you get $10 in free MBX tokens. Here's what you do. You go to virtualblockchainweek.com and click the sponsors button. Let me put this little thing up here. Little thing right here that shows that right there. You click that sponsors button, that blue button right up there up top, and all of our sponsors are right here, and they've all got offers for you. You want to take advantage of this by going to this page and see all the various offers that there are. And of course, you'll find MobiPay right here, and they're doing a 1 million MBX giveaway for Virtual Blockchain Week. So do it, and it's a good thing. It's a brave new world.
It's a brave new world in more ways than one. So what's great about this, like we're ending this thing on a super high note. We just had Rachel Wolfson on to chat about journalism. And next up, we're going to have the CEO of what? The largest crypto exchange in the world. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Changpeng Zhao is the founder and CEO of Binance. He's a serial entrepreneur with a very successful track record of launching startups. He launched Binance in July 2017, same month that we launched Bad Crypto Podcast. We've got a show to show for it. He's got a multi-billion-dollar cryptocurrency exchange. Yeah. He's here with us tonight to have a fireside chat to share his thoughts. And you might want to change up the picture there, Travis. Hey, CZ, turn your camera.
Hold on. Yeah, let me try to see.
Or we can do like this. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Zhao. It's been a while.
Yeah, I know you're a very busy guy, so we appreciate you making time to come and speak to this global audience tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And it's a fireside chat, so I wanted to add some fire to the thing.
Wow, nice. Well, you guys use all the best features in Zoom.
There we go. I've got some fire too. All
nice.
The fire. You know, when you started this thing in 2017, you were looking at the market and you're like, oh, there's room for another exchange that does some things differently and some things better. Did you ever in your wildest dreams think that, 180 days later, you would have the largest crypto exchange in the world?
Yeah, no, we honestly did not have that. Well, our expectation at the time, our goal was let's try to reach #1 in 3 years. So 3 years was the target. So that's the target we set. But sometimes you get lucky.
Yeah, how was that ramp up period? Because here you are, you're like, all right, we want to be #1 in 3 years. You're #1 in 6 months. Like, what kind of scaling issues did you have at that time because for one, people want to be able to trust it. They want to make sure that it's going well and it's not crashing. And you guys did a great job of scaling this thing up. What were some of those things you had to overcome early on as you were scaling the company?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, basically, as soon as we started, we kind of identified there was a number of key issues in the industry at the time. Customer support was very bad. Matching engines are very slow. And also users' interfaces are very clunky. You have to scroll back and you get on one single web page, you have to scroll back up and down to trade. And there's no mobile apps. And of the 2 crypto to crypto exchanges that was big at the time, they were only in English, only on web. So there's and only basically targeting Western users. So we thought there was definitely room for another exchange. So the same as 200 other people every day. So I think every day there's about 200 new exchanges coming online. Then and even today. We did customer support was one of the hardest things to scale. So everything else we can just buy more servers. It's more of an online platform-driven business. And especially in those early days where we didn't have a lot of the standard operating procedures, we didn't have all the FAQs, all the training materials. So everything coming in was relatively new to us. And I was doing quite a lot of customer support. There was tricky issues like how do you deal with law enforcement requests? How do you deal with a user claiming to be somebody else, etc. So there was a lot of tricky stuff that in the early days that basically gets escalated to me. And I think basically in January 2018, in the last, in those few days, we were trading also about 11 billion trading volume per 24 hours. We had a lot of customer support issues. And last night, this morning, we're back at that volume. So we're now at all-time high volume now. And we're again actually seeing some customer support queues being formed. So we're trying to go through that. But now this time the team's much larger, much more equipped. So we had a lot of different issues, both on the server and on, but if I can recollect, most of the server issues are easier to solve. The harder issues are mostly on the customer support side. Yeah. And
what you just said, I just saw this story on Cointelegraph from the all-time high today. You tweeted out, last time we seen 11 billion was in January 2018. We've seen all-time high in trader numbers for a while, but volume-wise, today is a new record. 11 billion in trading volume over the past 24 hours. Wow.
Yeah, so I was surprised as well. In fact, I actually got woken up like at about 3 a.m. my local time because the volume was high and everyone's like, okay, well, let's wake Susie up just to make sure everything's okay.
I thought maybe you had like an implant that goes off when the volume goes, super high.
No, it's just a regular cell phone, so the technology works.
That's great.
Yeah,
go ahead.
So just to add a little bit, when Binance first started, we were processing withdrawals manually because we wasn't trusting the risk engines that much. So that was also a big bottleneck for the first month or so, or for the first month and a half. So this is something that most people didn't know. So you actually can launch an exchange and grow really quickly just using manual processing of withdrawals. So now everything's automated, of course, but so that was something else that we had to deal with back then. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
No, very cool. So I want to see, so for one, thank you so much for setting up the Binance charity. And, we've had so many great conversations with Jared Wynn and Helen and the team over there. You guys are doing some amazing things with your COVID for crypto. And we're very, blessed to be a partner with you guys, and half of the proceeds of all the VIP tickets for this thing we have going to your charity. Maybe talk about the genesis behind and the origins of setting up the charity aspect and making sure that it's so transparent and sort of, it seems like you're kind of rethinking charity and making it so transparent. So from our perspective, we think it's very good. We'd love for you to share about this.
Sure. So the transparent charity idea is not new at all. In fact, I still have a paper that I written in 2014. It's published on GitHub. It's public for people to view. And on GitHub, you can see the last updated timestamp. So blockchain offers this innovative way, this new way of having transparent accounting, a transparent ledger. So this can easily be applied to charities to make it more transparent, to ensure all the funds go to the end beneficiaries. So this idea is like I had in 2014, and also a crypto-to-crypto exchange. Everybody had the idea when they joined crypto. I was talking with other people about the idea in 2013. So a lot of the ideas, but the charity project is only possible now because due to Binance's success. So in 2014, I wrote a piece of paper, tried to push it, but didn't go anywhere. In 2017, 18-ish, we said, well, we now have the means and resources to do this. So let's do this again. There's a few reasons to do it. There's a few advantages. Number one, we solved the problem of transparent charity. Number two, I do believe any organization, most profitable organizations today should do social impact projects. It's part of giving back. It's part of doing the right thing. I think in business, we should do the right thing, but also once we are able to, then we should also do charity work. So just helping, finding strategic places where we can help people in need. Unfortunately, we can't help everybody who needs more money around the world, but we want to find places where that's very strategic. And for crypto, there's actually a lot of benefits. Number one is like increases adoption. Look, if I'm going to give you some donation in crypto, you are more likely to go and get a wallet or register an account on exchange to accept it. So it increases, that type of adoption is a positive first contact for a lot of people.
So it does increase adoption, and it also fixes the sort of negative image that was very often associated with crypto owners, thinking everybody who owns BTC is a drug lord. So that solves that. That kind of helps with that kind of narrative as well. We also see that it also helps the Binance reputation, of course, as well. And we are much more we are being much better received in a lot of areas, in a lot of countries, due to the charity initiative. So there are some selfishness to it, but there's some core values we're trying to push.
Well, speaking of transparency, you recently made an acquisition of the most popular site for, having data related to the crypto space, CoinMarketCap. It's a significant purchase. And actually we had Mati Greenspan was on last night sharing his thoughts, and he wanted to know how you manage the ethical boundaries of owning this accumulator of so much data and using that responsibly as the world's biggest crypto exchange.
Sure. So I think number one is CoinMarketCap. Most of I believe all of the data they have are actually public data. So exchange trading volumes, exchange trading data, order book data, etc. Most of those are data that's streamed publicly to anyone who's visiting those exchanges anyway. So it's more like a public data aggregator. It is one of the most popular, it is the most popular place for people to go find that information. So it's a very useful site. I think there's a couple of different concepts there. There's independence, there's neutrality, and there's value to users. And there's sort of fixing problems the team has. So the product has. So there are the influence it has on the community. So there's a number of those things. The team is relatively independent, but they are part of the overall larger sort of Binance ecosphere, as we say. The acquisition is 100%, so we do own it 100%. So we do have control if we want to interfere. But I do want to, even for all of the Binance teams, each team operates very independently. So Binance Futures is an independent team. Binance Spot is an independent team. P2P trading is an independent team. Cross Wallet is a very independent team. WeatherX, the Indian exchange, is an independent team. So this independence. Independence does, but we also have matrices that they need to sort of milestones they need to achieve. So usually those are user numbers, etc. And to achieve user number growth, they need to provide a valuable platform. So they need to solve some of the issues that users are complaining about. Right now, users complain about two big issues: the trading volume ranking, the fake volumes exchange report, some of the exchange report, and then some of the scam projects that people complain about that's being listed on there. And then there's a neutrality piece of it. So I think that's the part people are most concerned about, which is CoinMarketCap do interface with many other exchanges, and will their ratings continue to be neutral? And I think yes. So Binance does not get any special favors from that perspective. And also, if Binance wants to buy an ad on CryptoMarketCap, Binance will pay for it. So, but to us, it's more left pocket, right pocket. One team pays the other. But I think that economics still plays even within the Binance ecosphere. This way, accounting is a lot easier. How valuable each platform is a lot easier. The market value is a lot easier to determine. So we will continue to do that. Yeah, I think basically people are naturally worried that now CoinMarketCap, a data aggregator, now is owned by an exchange or by Binance. But I think over time, people will see how we manage it. We will keep it very neutral, and we'll just see how things go. Yeah.
Great stuff. My next question is around, you got some interesting developments that you popped up here recently. And one is BUSD, and the other one is these Binance mining pools, and how the mining pools are doing some really interesting things in ways that other cryptos maybe aren't mining. You want to maybe talk about those topics, because it seems like you guys are always over there innovating and creating new things, and I think this is some stuff that people need to know about.
Sure. Yeah, so Binance teams are organizing a very loose structure. So it's very it's good in the sense that everyone gets a lot of freedom and they get to do a lot of things, different things they want to do, and this is why there's so many different projects being worked on, etc. My understanding of the world is when people are working on something they want to work on, they do a much better job than working on something that somebody else asked them to work on. So we give a very high degree of freedom, and luckily almost all of the work in Binance is interesting. Just different people have different interests, so they work on different things. We give freedom to the point where it's very chaotic. It's actually if you join the Binance team, you actually couldn't. It looks completely like chaos. So you can't find any. We have the reverse side of the problem, but from an innovation perspective, it does go quite well. Most of the bigger projects like a mining pool, sometimes the idea comes from the individual, sometimes it comes from a conversation. We'll sit down and we'll draft out a few targets or a few OKRs or matrices that like I say initial target, and then they go away and they either hire people or attract people steal people from other teams and then go build it. But we care about execution, so everything launches. So on the BUSD side, we launched it about a year or so ago, and now it's slowly getting traction. Very recently, BitPay integrated that into their payment system. So now you can use BUSD to pay for stuff like they accept people from 50 states from United States and also globally. So that's a really strong development. So BUSD is also accepted by Bermudian government to pay for taxes. So that's also a very strong endorsement. BUSD is also regulated and fully audited by financial audit firms and fully regulated by NYDFS, which is one of the stricter regulators in the world. So there's full transparency that the cash reserves are there, they're fully audited, etc. So it's a fairly transparent and peace of mind stable coin. So that's going quite well. The mining pool is quite interesting as well. It came from a more casual conversation. And the mining pool, we just said, look, the Bitcoin mining is relatively centralized right now. There's a few large mining pools that have a lot of influence. And we want to throw our name in the hat and just say, look, we want to provide a mining pool as well, so that there's a slightly more distribution. We do have a reputation and also influence on users. So on the day of launch, we actually ranked 11th in the world of all mining pools. So it's not super big, but it's also not super small. So
you guys had to buy a whole lot of equipment and different servers all over, or was this existing equipment that you had, you just consolidated it, or you bought a bunch of equipment for this specific purpose?
I actually don't know. My understanding is we're running a mining pool, not a mining farm. So we basically, we run mostly like a bunch of servers that runs a mining pool software with some like configurations and etc. We talk to other mining farms who have mining equipment to join our mining pool, and they basically a lot of them are very supportive, and we actually got a pretty decent hash rate right now. So based on the hash rate we have right now, we should be about 1 or 2 blocks a day based on the hash rate, because we're still quite small. But on the first day of launch, we were really lucky. So we actually had 4 blocks. So we have, so that was pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's an independent team. It's led by somebody who's proven herself, and she's very strong. So, but we thought that having the mining pool actually makes it very easy for miners to sort of mine Bitcoins and then transfer them onto Binance.com, either sell it or stay there. They can use the mining, people can use the mining power in the future potentially for borrowing to hedge against fluctuation risks, etc. So there's a lot of integrations that could happen between the miners and the exchange as well. We've seen that before, but we've seen that other people from other mining pools are asking us for that. But now we have it already. So there's some natural, what do you call it, synergies there. So we hope to be able to provide more value services to our users. Yeah.
We have the millionth biggest mining pool, so we're just going to try harder. One day we'll get there. You are not a guy who minces his words, and there was a kerfuffle, as some of us say, a couple months ago. Binance delisted Bitcoin SV, and you came right out and said that Craig Wright is a fraud. You know, for being the biggest exchange and pulling that from, you know, it's still a top crypto. Are you also going to pull it off of CoinMarketCap?
Not right now. So the short answer is no. No plans there. CoinMarketCap does list a lot more coins than Binance.com, just because the different nature of the business. It's just a data aggregator site where just giving data has much lower risks than enabling trading people's money is involved. Yeah, I mean, so to be honest, the listing of BSV was a tricky decision because BSV is not just Craig Wright. I think Craig Wright is absolutely fraud. He's not Satoshi Nakamoto. I think anybody who understands crypto knows that.
Hey, don't talk about my uncle like that. I'm Travis Wright. We're not related. No, don't worry. That's okay.
That's not true.
So but BSV does have a following somehow. Especially among Chinese communities or some. So what's interesting is after we delisted it, some of the other exchanges feel that there's no other liquidity, and they can. There's probably large traders who think that it's easier to manipulate the prices of that coin. So that's probably the easiest coin out of the top 10 to manipulate prices right now. So people do so it does have high fluctuations, which actually draws in a lot more traders. So it's one of those tough decisions. But I think given that Craig Wright is so heavily associated with it, it's not worth to list it on Binance.com. But at the same time, I don't see the need of removing them from CMC just yet. So we'll see.
Just yet. That's you've left it wide open.
Yeah.
To pull that down.
Nothing's permanent. Anything could change at any minute. So I never guarantee or promise anything in the future. But right now, there's no plans. Yeah.
So I want to ask a question here about. So there's been some stuff going on with a lot of different crypto projects and exchanges, and with the SEC, like this one firm, they went and they filed a whole bunch of different lawsuits against everybody, like that was doing business for the most part in America, and it seems to be killing innovation in America because there's so many people out there that are litigious, and I think that brings down, you know, our environment overall, our community, because, you know, we can't be so legit. We're trying to grow this thing. We're trying to build this, you know, this amazing ecosystem, and then the regulation comes in and over-regulates in some ways and kind of kills that. Is there anything that you can talk about, you know, that stuff that's going on with the SEC? I know that you ended up having to essentially you take Binance.com and out of America and create your own new Binance.us and do business separately in America. Is there anything that you can clarify about how doing business in the crypto world in America is and how it's changing?
Sure. So I think there's a few different topics you mentioned there. I think regulatory-wise, US right now, to be honest, does not have super clear regulations, but the regulatory agencies do have a lot of power, and we don't want to step on the wrong guy's toes. So we worked with BAM Trading Services in the United States, who's our local partner there. And we set up an independent Binance.us exchange that's targeted to service US citizens or US residencies. So so in every country we operate, we want to be fully compliant, working closely with regulators. We don't want to piss off anybody. And so far, I don't think we have. We want to be very cautious there. Whether the regulations are too unclear or too tough, too restricted, etc. I do think that it's probably a little bit overly restrictive in the US, to be very honest. It's just a large country, very established, multiple agencies, multiple states, a lot of, it's a mature traditional financial services market. So it comes with a lot of baggage. So I think it would be good if somebody could actually actively loosen or draft a new set of regulations for cryptocurrencies. I think that will encourage more innovation. And also some of the crypto specific licenses are very strict in the States. And to the point where I do think it's stifling innovation. You know, that's a personal opinion. Everybody have different opinions, and I may or may not be right. And on the other topic of I guess you were mentioning the class action lawsuits that was filed against us plus almost every other big player in the market. Look, we do live in a free world in that sense. Anybody can sue anybody else. Unfortunately, our society have gone to the point where as soon as somebody sues you, then everyone's worried about you. You're guilty, etc. And people, luckily. Investors will not invest in you. Stuff like there's a bunch of as long as you have a lawsuit against your head, then there's a bunch of negative effects. Whereas my view of the world should be that you should wait for the ruling before you people should be innocent until they're proven guilty. That's the
amen, brother. That's the American way right there.
Yeah,
it should be.
It should be. So, but we're seeing some conflicting effects where I think humans on this. Our fundamental philosophy says we're innocent until proven guilty, and then but the way business works right now in a lot of countries, other people are unwilling to deal with you if you have a lawsuit hanging on your head. But it is a lawsuit. Anybody can sue anybody. Our lawyers are handling it, so they asked me not to comment on it. So we'll just see how the lawsuit turned out. So we'll just have to see how that goes.
So no comment. There's a little bit of irony here because while we've been talking, I received this email from Binance.us: earn 0.25% cash back when you buy crypto. I think you probably told them, make sure Joel gets this email while we're talking. We appreciate you coming on, and in closing, if you can give a hint, what is next for Binance? What big efforts are you planning?
So to be honest, we have a lot of small sort of new projects kind of in the labs, in the experiment stage. But my fundamental focus, like for example, I did not know about that email at all. And I did not know they have a program like that. Binance US is ran by Catherine Cooley, and they run a fairly tight ship and independent team. From my perspective, so as I was telling one of the other private conferences we had very recently, just about a week ago, they were asking everyone. They were asking everyone the question, "What keeps you up at night?" So my answer there was when crypto price goes up, we just need to make sure the system can handle it. So I think yesterday we handled this morning in the last 12 hours or so we handled it quite beautifully. That's kudos to the team. So that's what I'm focused on mostly. So just to make sure that we provide the right services to our users. It's very basic.
I think Coinbase actually went down today with
for a period of time. But look, it happens to everybody. It's not like we're innocent all the time. So network glitches happen. It happens to everybody. But that's really my main focus right now, which is to make sure that our system can handle the load. I think very likely Bitcoin will go another 10 or 100x sooner or later. It's just a matter of time. So we just got to get ready.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, you recently acquired CoinMarketCap. Some people have said the amount is upwards of $400 million. I just want to throw this out there. We have a podcast for sale. maybe a blockchain week. I mean, we'll take it.
100 million, 150, maybe even 75 million would be good.
Yeah, that's good.
Billing, right?
Right on. Hey, CZ, thanks again for your time. We know you're a busy guy. I know the world's paying attention, and I believe Cointelegraph wanted to have a brief interview with you after this, if you're available for them.
Yes. I think that's arranged already. I think that's
fantastic. That's
50 to 100x potential growth on Bitcoin, according to Mr. CZ. That's a nice number to hear potentially.
But my time frame is much longer. So I was at decades or even longer. So people very often misunderstand the time frame of it. But if I don't believe that, I wouldn't be here.
Right on.
Amazing.
Yeah. Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Good to see you, and best of luck.
Thank you so much. Really an honor to have you here.
Cheers. Well, there you go. CZ from Binance, the world's biggest crypto exchange. I mean, he's basically building the Amazon of blockchain and cryptocurrency.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait until it's the Binance Crypto Podcast. It's going to be exciting.
You're all set on that acquisition. Do we have to move to China?
Well, it can still be BCP, which is good.
Oh.
So Binance Crypto
Binance
podcast. It's really good.
That's great. Wow. Hey, gang, what a fantastic close for day 3, but we're not done yet. We're going to give away one of the CryptoMatic ATMs. And I want to go ahead before we bring our guest in and show you guys this quick video. That's CryptoMaticATM, our title sponsor for Virtual Blockchain Week. And we're going to get ready here to give away one of these machines tonight from our title sponsor. With CryptoMaticATM, you could start your own business, earn passive income with an ATM for buying and selling cryptocurrency. Because as cryptocurrencies become part of our everyday life, today's world demands a simple solution for buying crypto for cash. You can learn more about it at CryptoMaticATM. And now we want to bring in Mr. Joff Paradise, who is the chief cook and bottle washer, the CEO at CryptoMaticATM. And Joff, how you doing, brother? Good to see you again.
Hey, you too, guys.
Excellent. Would you like to introduce the gentleman that we have along with us here?
If you don't want to, I can.
Well, you know more about him than we do, so go ahead and tell us all about it.
All righty. Well, Patrick has been with us for quite some time now. He's an amazing CEO and director of the company. He orchestrates all the different avenues that has to be done, and all the logistics and the sales teams and the manufacturing and all the employees, and the man's just a phenomenal, and I'm very blessed to have him with us. Of course, I'm a founder and one of the shareholders. I'm not the actual owner totally of the company, but Patrick,
you do wash the bottles, right?
I try to come in. I try to come in and wash the coffee cups and the bottles every chance I get. Mop the floor. If they let me clean the restroom, I do. You know, that kind of thing.
So this is Patrick Dopfner, the CEO at CryptoMaticATM. Hi, Patrick.
Hello, how are you?
Excellent.
Keep in mind that Patrick is located there in Kiev, Ukraine. It's 5:05 in the morning. He's been in the office since about midnight, hammering out some things. He said it was peaceful and it was nice, but I bet you I don't catch him there tomorrow night at midnight.
Well, are we ready to give away the first of 2 CryptoMatic ATMs?
I think so. If you have the random number generator
I
there.
do. I have it right here. And
pull it up on the screen.
This is the random number generator right here on CryptoMaticATM. And do I just start it and let it go, or do I have to stop it at some point?
Well, what do you think we should do? You can start it and then you have to stop it. So we can talk a couple of seconds. You can count it down.
So it'll keep going until I stop it?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
All right. Let's just get it started then.
Let's get it
here
going.
come the names.
Oh, wait till they say my name. Wait till they say my name. Is my name not on there?
Huh?
I should have at least 5 entries in there.
Yeah. Joff, why don't you explain the delivery of the ATM and go over once more, what that entails so people are clear on it.
Perfect. Well, first and foremost, we can't logistically pay for shipping for you. We'd love to, but we can't. But there is some logistics that goes on behind the scenes that we will help you do. You'll need the shipping company, you'll need a freight forwarder, you'll need to clear customs, and all that paperwork will be done by us. But before all that happens, what we want to do is make sure you have the proper location to locate the ATM. We want to make sure you have all your documentation done properly. We want to make sure that that you have your account set up, and in the exchange that we have you set up your account. We API it, and where you have Bitcoin there, you have Ethereum, Litecoin, whatever coin you want to put in there that's on the ATM. Now, the thing I didn't mention is if you have your own crypto and it's actually an open source on it and listed on the exchange, we could actually put that on the ATM too. So long story short, we are going to walk you through step by step. There are some software fees, administration fees. Of course, those fees will be, we can work it out. We can work with you on those fees. It's not a big deal. But this is an actual business opportunity. This machine is a real business. It can be lag bolted down into the ground, so somebody just can't pick it up, take it away. Not that they could, they'd have to be some kind of muscle bound freak, but I mean, they do weigh a little bit, like 98, 99 kilos. So that's these machines that we're doing tonight.
All right. Well, so I want to be straight up here as I'm watching this go. I'm afraid that the data hasn't loaded properly into it because I'm pretty much seeing a lot of the same names. And I know we have like 3,000 people.
Yeah, we should have loaded. It might be, we might need to do, I
mean, I just want to be
Jesse,
clear.
Gloria, Bob, Aaron.
Something doesn't look
Jesse.
right here. I want to make sure that
it should be going a lot faster, a lot more names. Let's do another generator tomorrow. If we can, let's just do it again tomorrow.
I would rather do it right.
Yeah, me too. There's definitely something in the background there. I need to get with my IT team and make sure that.
So
we just got the list about an hour, not even an hour ago.
No worries. Like I said, sometimes technology doesn't do what we want it to do.
Yeah.
It's
and we'll give you the list of where it is right now. That way they can work on it all day tomorrow. So anybody who registers now, they're not going to be involved for this one. They will be eligible for Fridays, but not eligible for this one. That way all that data will still be the same. No new people will get into this tomorrow. We'll just do it tomorrow. Sounds good?
Okay. Thank you, guys. I appreciate the understanding. For all of those for everyone that's on right now that wanted to win, you got to come back tomorrow night to win.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gloria Knight is upset now because her name was.
That's technology. Joff, Patrick, thanks for coming tonight. We're going to get this working out right and make sure that we do this properly.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, guys. And thank you, Joel. And thank you, Travis. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Right on. We appreciate that. Sorry about the technical glitch there, gang, but we will handle that. And there's going to be a bunch more prizes as well coming from us. We've got some wallets that we're going to be putting out. We've got some bad coin that we're going to give away. We've got crypto kaijus from our friend Oliver that we're going to be giving away. In fact, let me go ahead and actually show one of these right now. I'm going to turn.
And while you're doing that, I want to make sure everyone, you can go to virtualblockchainweek.com/agenda. And if you click on that agenda, or just go to virtualblockchainweek.com, click on agenda and scroll down to the end of the day of day 3. And you will see that Coin Genius has a networking room available tonight for you folks who want to get in there and do a little bit of chatting. And so that's going to be available until 11 p.m. Eastern or until they close it. So I don't know. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, right?
This is a crypto kaiju, a crypto kitty. It's a really solid. I don't know if it's what they make them of, but they're really nice. And it's got this NFC here at the bottom, and it is a physical representation of an NFT. It's like the other way around. There's a non-fungible token that supports the validity and the existence of this. And we're going to be giving away from Crypto Kaiju. Oh, there's yours. A couple of these here before the event.
Mine's named McCoots McNuggins or something. I don't know.
Mine is McNuggins.
It's got some funny name.
Hey, I want to do something spontaneous, Mr. Travis, right before we close out, because I see somebody in the waiting room right now, and I don't know if he knows that he's coming on or not. But if he does, I'll announce him. If he sees, he was just
so spontaneous.
Yeah, just being spontaneous. Nick, are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
So turn on your camera.
I'm
because we were going to close out, but we've actually got Nick Spanos here. He's a pioneer in the Bitcoin and blockchain tech space, and he founded the Bitcoin Center New York City, which is the world's first ever crypto trading floor in 2013. And you just happened to stumble in here. Like, did you think there was another party going on?
Listen, I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know what time it is. I got to cut my own hair over here. How's it look? I don't know what the hell's going on around here. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I don't know. I got
That sounded like a Joey Bag of Donuts thing right there. I don't know. I don't know.
Got a party
I
behind
have
you.
no idea what's happening.
Well, as long as you're here, what in the world is happening? Bitcoin passed 8,800.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Wait, I think Nick has been drinking every time Travis said interesting tonight.
I haven't drank in years.
Okay. So you're just high on life.
Yeah, I don't need that stuff.
What's happening at the Bitcoin NYC Center?
Yeah, well, we got this new space, sort of like 3 days before they shut down the city, 6,000 square feet. We're trying to, well, we're not doing anything there yet. You know,
Yeah, they're saying you're non-essential, Mr. Nick Spanos.
2307 Broadway. Yeah, we're non-essential. I don't know. I just, you know, I'm trying to wait it out. I think I'm waited out enough.
Yeah, we love this. This is the Easter egg at the end of day 3. We didn't even know the Easter egg.
Yeah,
was
we didn't know
gonna
it was
happen.
coming. I just saw you there, and because I think there's other people. The VIPs.
How did it go so far? How do you think it went?
It's been great. It's been
I
great.
think it went great. Every time I went on, there was all these people that are meeting each other. How'd you do that with the Zoom? I don't know. You know, like
We are
that.
magicians, Mr. Nick Spanos.
Yeah. You can't give away all the secrets.
It's ridiculous. And then then you had like a speed dating, had all these different people, incredible people come on and talk. And I think the future's bright for Bitcoin. I think because we're getting together because of people like you and maybe me years ago, you know. I mean, I'm trying to get people together again off the street, but right now no one's on the street. So your virtual stuff is incredible. And you guys are creating an inevitable, incredible future for Bitcoin and all of us, and decentralization and freedom. And I'm glad only even to be a part of it.
Amen, brother. Well,
thanks for all that you've done, man. You've done a lot to really build up, you know, mainstream adoption to the point to where we are today. And so you're one of those OGs who's helped pave the road for the new G's.
Yeah, they paved right on top of me.
Nice. Well, we're going to make sure that we get you on Bad Crypto here soon after the dust settles on this. We'll connect you with Aaron, our producer, and let's do a full-length interview.
Excellent. Excellent.
That was great. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for all you do.
That was awesome.
All right.
Well, that was hilarious.
You never know who's going to pop in randomly thinking there's a party going on.
Well, there's always a party going on when Mr. Joe Com's around.
Well, let me tell you what.
Until he gets tired, and then it's not a party anymore.
I'm tired. It's been a long day, starting with the VIP session, which was amazing. This day 1, day 2, day 3 are now officially in the can. And let's take a look at what's coming up tomorrow on day 4, Travis. Let me pull up the schedule here. You guys can go look at this yourself on the website at virtualblockchainweek.com.
Yep. Starting at 6:30 Eastern time per usual is when Joel and I are going to jump on. And then after that, you need to refresh your cache, Mr. Joel Com. Okay. After that, at 6:35, Donnie Dvorin from Brave is going to come on and talk about how marketers can future-proof their advertising by using the blockchain-based browser. We're going to have a conversation with Tracy Hudson of Verse, the power of blockchain-based virtual worlds in a pandemic, trading virtual properties on the blockchain with Upland. Looks like there's a misspelling right there with Dirk of Upland.me. We love Upland. Right? Lots of great stuff going on there. Charlie Shrem's going to be here. Chris Snook. You guys are not going to want to miss the 7:40 Eastern tomorrow. Chris Snook. He's going to be doing some really cool stuff with his Zoom slides. You're going to want to check that out. Pump tomorrow. What? Win.
And Circumstance. We're going to have both of them.
Brandon Bergeson of Money Pay. Ryan Rodden's going to come and talk about crypto gaming and blockchain.
Mm-hmm. We got Jesse Reich of Splinterlands is going to be here. Jen Grayson is going to be talking about teaching blockchain while the pandemic is taking place. Justin Sun of Tron is going to deliver the closing keynote tomorrow night. Really looking forward to it. And there's just so much activity this week, and we hope that you've got to just consume all this great content. Of course, if you've missed any of it, you can go to where the streams have been and review. We will be at some point, probably 2 to 3 weeks after this is over, having all of the videos edited, broken down, and uploaded to our YouTube channel. And of course, if you haven't listened to the Bad Crypto podcast, we invite you to do so. In fact, I believe, Mr. Travis Wright, as we close out, I would like to play a video that I can't find at the moment.
And I also want to say thank you to all the folks that are tuning in on this thing. We've had over 3,000 people register for Virtual Blockchain Week. Some days we've had as many 15, 20,000 different people tuning in at certain times during the day. And wow, it's been amazing. And I'm doing really good in saying interesting less. I've said it maybe 5 times today.
You've become very conscientious of that.
I'm gonna start saying curious. That's really curious. That's peculiar.
Okay, I found it. We're going to play you guys out with this video. We will see you tomorrow for Virtual Blockchain Week, day number 4. Stay bad.
We love you all. Thank you.
Welcome to Bad Crypto, badcryptopodcast.com. We're talking everything blockchain and the shit coins that you own. What news will get you wrecked? What coins are gonna moon? Just sit back and hold on. You'll get that Lambo soon. Bad Crypto Podcast. Check us out at badcryptopodcast.com.